Hey, Lord Tachi me here.
What was it doing?
Back again on Twitch. And I think YouTube, whatever. I'm playing some goddamn Battlefield 2042 by myself because my friends are crap. And yes, I think we should have
made
kill.
one of those cheesy yellow decals and slapped it on the escape ship.
Is it on the Sulaco, or did it come with us in the EV?
It was with us all the way.
If he can detect that now, why couldn't they detect that then? Seems like that would have been a super important thing to check for before departing the place where you were attacked by a swarm of aliens. Dude, I know we're not socially distancing at this point, but is it necessary to get this tight to have this conversation?
I'd like to talk to him about this dragon.
It's a dragon.
If they're talking about dragons, shouldn't Clemens be more?
I could keep trying out the new
Let me
map.
see if I have this correct,
Try to
Lieutenant.
level up my battle pass some more. What missions do I have? I gotta earn some ribbons and gotta get
And it
sniper
arrived on
because
your
I'm not
spaceship.
getting sniper rifle
Smarmy
kills.
asshole in charge,
That is
smartly
not
and
worth the
immediately
headache, and I
dismisses
suck
obvious
with
threat that
sniper
will eventually
rifles.
kill him directly cliche.
You got my friend Quasar playing Destiny 2 like a nerd.
Dude, that was like 20 movie minutes ago. Try to keep up.
Perhaps I should give you one of my special cocktails.
Damn it, wasn't anyone paying attention when they got it on earlier? You know, while Clemens was playing footsie and drinking tea with Ripley, don't you think he could have paused at least briefly to wipe the massive amount of blood off Walter's face?
You're gonna die too.
What is it about psychotic patience that provokes filmmakers to always tell the protagonists they're going to die?
I was considered to be the most promising in my future.
Sounds like I'm joining a match already going on.
No, amount of
Yep.
alcohol to clean the injection
And
site.
we are
Now,
getting our
even though Ripley's been
asses
through a
kicked.
scrap heap, an assault attempt, and dealt with
Let's
Bishop
see.
Goo, he's just ramming that in with
Modify.
immunity? They didn't hear it walk in at all? Is that asshole wearing ballet slippers or something? This image is so closely associated with this movie, I'm going to award it an honorary roll credits. We find out later why the alien didn't kill
God,
Ripley.
yeah, 28 tickets.
Crazy and Grayson in a straitjacket.
I joined a match with Ouija just kidding.
Not only is Andrew
Rexon.
perfect alien attack from the ceiling placement in the cafeteria, the alien knows exactly when to come down for perfect dramatic timing. Get this alien a contract quickly before Universal snags it for whatever movie they're making to rip off this one. I know the Xenomorph.
Yeah, just fuck
You
yourself.
let it know that it's a good
Yep, defeated. Well, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, Markel. I start a match with you in the party and I lose
This is
immediately.
probably the best part of the movie.
Nice
man,
job,
they made this
team.
poor asshole
Oh my
mop up
God,
leftover
fucking
Andrews
toxic
and put
piece
up
of
all these
shit.
chairs by himself.
What'd you
How is
do?
this important?
What do we do now? Who's in charge?
The answer to this question has always been and always will be Charles.
Bring me that ass! As you just drag him back
Movie
into
predicts
you.
its own critical response with a line of actual dialogue.
This is the only
Fourth
way.
try? You go, girl.
That's right.
So where'd the other inmates go? I thought they were super hard to learn the plan, but once they actually start
Shitty
the
stats.
planning, they pieced out. It's almost like everyone involved in this thing lost interest around the
Sucks
1
to
hour
be
mark.
you. Yeah, but at least you got it.
The characters in this movie have amazing
Well, if
faces
you want better
selected
stats, then
amnesia.
you're gonna have to
Just
do it
3
again.
minutes ago, Rock was asking Ripley if she could lead them against
Not
the
too
alien,
bad.
and now he's
Suck
manufacturing
it up.
conflict right before the plan is enacted. Why? Seriously, why?
Did you do it on master
This is
difficulty
a
or legend?
essential alien movie. Then
That was a
Covenant.
legend.
Ah, lucky.
It's like a lion, sticks close to the zebras.
But I learned on a historically accurate jungle cruise at Disneyland that the lions are always just protecting the sleeping zebras. And now I'm wondering what other lies Skipper Chet told me.
Nah,
The
motherfucker.
world doesn't really
Nah,
know miles
bitch.
and miles and miles. Why,
Oh, you
Chet?
seen the
Why?
Yeah, but the problem with the orcs one is you need specific weapons to get it done. I think I do. I think I have a linear fusion rifle with triple tapping vorpal weapon.
Liquids and solids and me. I have no fucking clue what's happening in this montage. Just move along to the Xenomorph beating ass and Ripley having her Terminator 2 moment, will you?
But you can still use this.
Whisper the worm,
Everyone
yeah.
survives this. I mean,
Yeah, that did-
think
that
everyone
did
does?
the-
It's so hard to see in this movie
Either
that
the
as long as I
most
see
or
Ripley and
second
Dylan, I
most
assume everyone else is alive. How does
Which
all
is-
this
I'm
on the
gonna keep
EEV
that
still
on
work?
until I
Sure
get
as I
that
wouldn't be able to fix anything at the facility since 85
Sounds like
said
a plan.
earlier.
I don't know. Like, we'll probably do the raid this weekend after we do a bunch of stuff with the seasonal challenge.
Hey man,
We're probably gonna be done Destiny
One
anyway.
cliche in this franchise should be the movie that was directed by the guy that did Blade Runner. Also, I'm watching a goddamn ultrasound in real time. Should be the climax of the movie. Has a lot of flaws. The most glaring
Alright,
is
sounds like a plan.
apparently the enhancement didn't work, since it still looks like we're watching a blurred porn on a hotel TV from 1988. I've heard in a lot of writers' rooms they have a list on a wall that details all the things they refuse to do on their television show or movie. There should have been one.
Fuck me. I know. Is that the one in the raid? Yeah, totems? Yeah, I know. I think the war priest.
I can't figure out why they ever cut to the
What about him?
zero to the
Okay,
story.
yeah, I
Every
figured
single
out
exterior
the,
shot looks like Jason X took a all over Space Quest 4.
Maybe I'll go
Taking champion thing.
see how smart it
I figured out.
Don't you get the feeling that Sigourney Weaver wants this movie?
Okay. You figured out where they spawn, or you figured something else
whenever I
out?
text someone.
Pretty much
I'm part of the
where they're
family.
gonna spawn.
Cajoling your AM. At least that's what I called it when I was in middle school, and my mom told me it was definitely a sin. Man, why are all these alien movies so far?
It's going to spawn.
Yeah, obviously, but we have to figure it out.
Detail from that fuzzy-ass picture. Like the background of a Spike Jones music video from the 90s. There's not a single person watching this movie thinking that Dylan is so well with the first scene of no suspense, no matter how high you turn up that school. The scene is a prison cell of lies.
That's all we have.
Company man!
Yeah, but figuring it out left or right is the problem, though. If you go, because if you don't get it,
They killed my mates too!
This goes on for every last bit of some time.
When they first heard it was crew expendable. The next time they send in Marines.
oh, I got nothing.
Where are you going?
I'll be around.
What about the others? Were they?
Praying.
Well,
Well, no,
sounds
you're
like
supposed
an
to do it
excellent
between
plan,
two
then.
people,
We go
though.
ahead
It's
and order the
between
celebratory
between
pizza.
two people.
I guess it may be part of the point of this place to be spatially confusing. Everything looks the same. It's like the set designer got a really good deal on burnt sienna colored paint at Home Depot and decided to buy all of it. Just want to point out, this movie had a budget of $50 million in 1992.
Allies securing objective Charlie 2.
I think you're oversimplifying it, but we'll see.
Why do they even have to run down those damn tools?
I didn't
Dylan
even
pointed
know.
out directly that they could use Ripley to their advantage because the alien won't kill her. So, as usual, stop playing this weird version of the alien seems to be taking its sweet-ass time dramatically killing fools instead of trying to find its way out of trouble. Why did they park so far away? The facility has that dock thing. Someone said earlier that it's like negative 30 degrees. Is Dylan really asking Kevin not to struggle while he is trying not to be eaten by a fucking alien? Swear to God, this is a new character. They all look pretty much the same because of the same head, but I knew he worked with a mark. Rob, the guy you do with the bad accent, the prison tattoo, the guy that looks like Barrett, tall ugly guy, head with Harry, and the company man. That should be it, man. This is a new character created just so the alien can eat one more motherfucker before it got us.
Oh God!
Hey, the last one again? I think the alien stuck, scared of Ripley, recording a TikTok. So Dylan stays
Any
behind.
healers nearby?
The alien in the lead bag. He knows
I just
Ripley's
got
a
naded.
much more dangerous situation inside of her.
If this was realistic, both my legs would be
The alternative is
gone.
even worse. So I guess the idea here is that water is mixing with hot lead and making the exoskeleton brittle. The increased internal pressure would cause the alien to explode. However, for this to work, the alien would have to be literally burning alive inside the outer shell. The fact that it's still jumping around like a fucking spider monkey is bonkers as hell and pretty much more.
The company sent me here to show your face, to demonstrate how it works.
Wayland Botani knows how the gestation works. Right? I mean, a couple of centuries since the first gestation. Why wouldn't they just wait around for Ripley to give birth? Could happen any minute. And just
Oh, woe is you.
Oh, trust me. Mazel tov. It's a girl. Moore's got to be the last one standing. Moore's. Only this way.
Oh God damn it! I'm trying to heal you, selfish shit.
Sometimes we get bored with nitpicking movies to death. Yo, Chris, answer your damn phone. I have some to say to you about this Pete's Dragon bullshit you made me watch. Stop screening my calls. There's so much sin in the world. So, a few years ago, we decided to put the old sin counter at those delightful...
There's something I
That's right, for all of your pop star mockery music videos, the format is just...
Oh God damn it!
On this channel, you get to see the moral sins of content creators like Jake Paul, Ariana Grande, Cyrus, J. Khaled, and Cardi B. And while you're there, support your Taylor Swift, Jason Derulo, Megan Trainor, Camila Cabello, and much more. Subscribe today for more laughs than you can have. Check out music video sins now.
That's what I want to
I need to see what's the best with them.
There was one survivor,
What do you mean actual level up?
and it was hopelessly
Level up your weapon.
Ah, the ones you forged? Yeah. I'm thinking like, dude, you just infuse that shit. Are you retarded? No, you're talking about the ones you forged. Might be. Oh no, what do you see?
Look at a video like that.
I'm not gonna
Honestly, just use the son bitch.
Don't
That's
do
all you
anything
have to
stupid.
do.
You say that it's pointless talking to you.
I know.
Now,
Why do you insist on...
Why are you struggling to level it up?
Jay Silent. My name is
Why are you struggling to level it up? Just use the son
I
bitch.
haven't been like that since grade school.
No, you haven't.
I think it might be better if I left.
If God was a villain, crap ton of weapons. Actually, I actually did. I'm not gonna a lot because doing that Western crap. Well, But I wanted to
I feel nothing but pain.
it's still long.
Got a death curse!
There is a chemical weapon.
Okay, your mother taste.
I completely forgot what it was.
It was your mama. Woo! Oh, you lived.
Stop smart!
No, get a reload my grenade launcher. Eat shit.
We're going to live on! We're going to survive! Today,
Oh god,
we
regret,
celebrate
regret.
Wow, Ripley's ship has been out of
Who has the balls? You have the balls to attack. You.
These guys any indication that the air in here is breathable? Certainly nothing since they walked in here. But so,
Got my armor piercing rounds? Yes, there's my armor piercing rounds.
listen, I'm glad the cat ends up being okay. Having said that, shouldn't the hypersleep setting be
Hello,
completely different for different species? Is the cat not age either?
How long was I out there? Has no one discussed this with you yet?
I think the helicopter crashed. Yeah, the helicopter crashed.
we control the majority of sectors.
Line lock, deep south.
Oh god!
How the
Miguel, they shot me!
systems without anyone knowing? In the previous movie, Ripley thought she'd be picked up within
You
6
watching the
weeks or so,
stream?
but
Supporting your
instead,
BFF?
core systems like
I
Super
know
and
you
Storm.
streaming.
I'm always streaming.
Really?
Actually, it's like
Miguel, you heard me do my fucking intro. How did you not know I was streaming?
I mean, you may think it's a long way from chemist, but that's just peanuts to space. Listen, Ansel, movie takes the awesome
No,
scene from the
no,
first
you're
one
not.
and turns it into a
Let's be honest.
I guess all that
I've seen you in person. You are not human.
Stand-up comedian Paul Reiser being in this movie still holds, despite the last
You're a
part
blob.
drink. Sneaky. It's a scary moment, pretend to kill your main star, and give the audience useful information.
And I don't blame you. Food is good.
Photos like this. Wouldn't you have something more official than?
I love food.
You've been here for
Oh, you started keto again?
How many different ways?
Yeah. I haven't done keto in a hot minute. I've actually gained weight. I've told you, I was at my lowest like 155. I'm 167 last time I checked.
Because I don't have to. There have been people there for over 20 years, and they never complained about any hostile organism.
And I neglected to tell you this extremely important detail until you confronted me after the meeting. Wow, your business cards are ridiculously inefficient. Why is it easier to give people a plastic card and contact you directly than a paper card that has your number?
You're going out there to destroy her.
Ripley, who has first-hand knowledge of the ways of the Whaling Corporation, trusts someone from the Whaling Corporation.
God damn it, I missed my fucking shots. I suck so
I
much.
understand the motivations of the company here. Sure, we need a reason for Ripley to be in this movie, but if they're taking her along, then it means they now believe her story about the alien, of which she already gave them all the information they need, so why bring her along?
And you.
Who's going to take care of it? Is she the wheelchair dog owner from Secret Life of Pets? Wait, why is Bishop on the manifest? Androids shouldn't need hypersleep, right? Really makes you wonder why none of these guys have an epic case of morning wood.
Who's the jackass that closed this?
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
Hey, Mira, who's Snow White? She's supposed to be some kind of consultant.
I guess when you're all in your undies waiting
God
for
damn it, I really wish somebody dropped me some goddamn ammo right now.
It's the first and space missions to kill aliens.
Vasquez, have you ever been mistaken for a man?
Or how about mistaken for being white? That's Jeanette Goldstein, right? Well, I guess we could forgive aliens for not putting an actual Hispanic actor in this role, since they were unavailable in 1986. Right, Maria? Yeah, but Bishop missed. He f***ing missed.
Yeah, reload my armor piercers.
The whole point of this knife razzabazz is that he can go super fast and not miss. Bishop may be a great upgrade.
Oh god, I got shot in the back.
You always have something.
Miguel, they shot me in the back like cowards.
Androidical correctness. Also, does it matter what Bishop prefers? How far has AI progressed into sentiency? And if it's at the point where androids
Fair
have
enough, you
preferences,
got me
would they
there.
still be taking orders from humans? I think not.
Oh my god.
Was it an older model?
There it is. Finally, I'm back.
Hyperdyne? Is that the offshoot of Cyberdyne? Are we mixing our Terminator Alien franchises? Is this after Skynet was officially defeated, or is this a parallel universe? Goddamn Terminator's always covering up their goddamn tracks.
That explains it. She's always worried.
Yeah, but
Worth it.
So there's nothing wrong with its behavior or programming. There
Rez,
was something wrong with the asshole who
anybody?
told me to force
Come
the
on.
magazine down
I'm
Ripley's
literally
throat.
surrounded by
Sorry, we
teammates.
didn't have time to
Rez.
brief you people before we left.
Oh my god, worthless, thank you.
The Marines when they
Finally,
left.
someone with
They had plenty of time between Gateway and Map.
Ow! I just got back up!
It's not like it would dissuade anyone from the mission.
He shot me in the butt!
I only need to know one thing. Where
You
they
enjoy.
are.
This is the James Cameronization of the Alien franchise, bringing a bunch of grunts and action this movie up.
Oh, god damn it!
So why'd they hire the killingest bunch of motherfuckers they could find?
Buddy said alien. She thought they said illegal alien and signed up.
That's racist, although it is kind of funny that this is a true story that made it into the script, because Jeanette Goldstein actually thought the movie was going to be about illegal aliens when she auditioned. I'm not quite sure how that translates into her playing a different race, but hey, a joke's a joke, yo.
How do I get out of this chicken outfit?
The producers of this movie took one look at Weird Science and said, hey, Bill, for this movie, don't change a thing.
Assholes and elbows. Hudson, come here.
Come here.
Movie transition. The ship is moving through space. Passage of time. I'm taking a sin off of these f***ing mech suits, man. These things are a million times better looking than what we see in the third Matrix movie. 17 years later.
Where you want it?
Bay 12, please.
These dudes seem incredibly impressed that Ripley can manipulate the mech loader, but this is well into the future. Isn't this like being able to operate a modern-day forklift?
All right, I want combat seating. You know your places.
Combat seating? Is that a thing? Does that mean there's a totally different combat seating, or a casual Friday seating I wasn't aware of? Every time I watch this movie, I'm perplexed as to why these heavily armed Marines let these two unarmed civilians tag along. But Ripley has experience and a paramilitary background. Or chicken is an executive. It's like taking Elon Musk to the center of a firefight.
Get it on!
There's no doubt during the soldiers grabbed their weapons and board the spaceship scene that they had to stop filming for several days due to James Cameron.
Oh, goddamn dirty ass grenades! That hurts!
Man, couldn't they clean the windshield off already for United Airlines?
Drake, check your camera. There seems to be a malfunction.
Ooh, goddamn! That guy just got blown the fuck up.
Necessity here, but where the fuck did they get the Nina? Is that even necessary? There are only 60 families here now. Probably all know where the alcohol is served.
All right, Hicks. Hudson, use your motion trackers.
There was no need for you to do that beforehand, because, as we all know, aliens don't attack when you first walk into a building. Alien that looks like a vagina is automatically more sex education than any Tennessee high school is going to teach. Everyone else's armor-mounted light is pointing forward, and Drake's is pointing right at his chin, so that any enemy will have a great view of the start.
Let's move forward.
Then why is everyone advancing?
I can't see shit, I'm just praying and praying!
Decides to be a jump scare dick in front of these trigger-happy faces. Wait, Rebecca Newt was born Ian Hadley's home. Grew up here. This is a terraforming mining base in Harry B. Gilbert. They not only had a functional elementary school, they had planned to give out awards, citizenship. Also, if the crew was put into hypersleep to fly out to this colony planet, how much time is that to have? Second grade represents the good old days for Newt, and this must be a period of like months, huh? So shouldn't she be way older if the trip was so long as to require hypersleep?
I'm wasting that time.
Yeah, there's no reason to continue to try to get information from what looks like the source survivor of the scene.
Oh, god damn it! I got hit with a tank from across the goddamn map.
20 clicks will read it out here.
Once again, something that would have been useful to do immediately after they landed.
Newt, look at me. Where are they?
There's no doubt that Newt knows of the fantastic beasts and where to find them.
Alright, can I go now?
Trying to fix that! Who the fuck keeps closing this?
Newt's a big bitch.
Talking about a thermonuclear explosion and adios muchachos.
Jeez, Paul Reiser's stealing Hispanic acting jobs too?
Sorry. Just do it, Sergeant. And no grenades.
It would literally take less than 30 seconds for Gorman to tell them why they couldn't shoot the creature.
Oh, god damn it!
Communication when you can use flamethrowers. This is exactly why you tell your soldiers why they can't fire down here. This one asshole who decided to check just happened to have an alien ready to burst out of her chest. They passed like 20 other people on the way here, right? Also, how long have these assholes been down here? Everything else is long gone. But this one colonist was alive.
Why do jeeps suck so much in this game? I will never know.
Pull your team out, Gorman.
Seriously, if no one was going to listen to Ripley, then what was the point of her being here? I guess all that stuff about the thermonuclear reactor blowing up and everything is just a bunch of bullshit. There's no way they didn't hit something vital during this scene. Apparently, metal tires make the same sound on an alien planet as rubber tires on Earth. After aliens somehow slipped by everyone.
Oh, what the fuck? Got hit by a grenade launcher, god damn it.
All the aliens were down behind, but even if there was
god damn it, I just got done dirty again.
Didn't detect it, and the pilot didn't either.
Spunkmeyer. Well, where the fuck?
The most significant moment in Xenomorph evolution was when they learned to pry open cockpit doors. You see, even the grunts and aliens didn't attend the Prometheus school of running away from things.
Dark soon, and they mostly come at night.
Oh god damn it, it's fucking dumb! I'm gonna put my fucking turret down. That should have been more than enough fucking room.
From where? The same base Ripley and the crew left? If so, why the hell did they go into hypersleep for 17 days? It's a little longer than a regular moon mission from the 20th century. Also, if the crew had left at least one person up in the orbiter, as common sense suggests, they'd be rescued in 5 minutes or less and we'd have 70% less danger in this movie.
Then I can find you anywhere in the complex.
First off, they just sealed off the fucking doors to be barricaded in small places. why wait until now to give this to Ripley? Second off, everyone should be wearing these locators at all times, right? Especially the non-military Ripley and Burt, who would be more apt to get lost. Gee, for a compound that was recently overtaken by an alien race, this base has some clean-ass linen.
Nothing bad in there.
Ripley, she doesn't have sickness because she's just a piece of plastic.
Newt would be amazing.
I'm gonna die here! God damn it.
Right through that camera.
God damn it, I just killed that fucker.
At all times. So if I see one hint of an alien, I'm fast enough to run in here and kill it before it gets to you.
I want these specimens destroyed.
Mr. Burke gave instructions that they would be kept alive in stasis to return to the company lab.
Burt gave Bishop leave to keep the specimens alive over. They could also give him the don't tell everyone what I'm doing because that'll freak everyone out and they may want to kill me. Hour 1 of Newt walks went by without Ripley looking at the security screen once.
God damn it, where the fuck's my team? I'm the only one on C1. Only God knows where the rest of my fucking retard team is.
Pull it in tight here.
Whoa, maybe this weapons training scene is a sex scene. Movie will try to make us believe that Burke somehow tossed a couple of facehuggers into this room in order to impregnate Ripley and Newt. But how the f did he do that? Find some unconscious facehuggers that he knew would wake up eventually and slip them in there when no one was looking? This room is soundproof for some reason.
No, Burke, I don't know which species is worse. You don't see them f***ing each other over for a goddamn percentage.
Yeah, but how do you know that? Have you Diane Fossey'd these aliens before? I'd love to see the movie Aliens in the Mist.
It's inside the complex.
You're just reading me.
Since when do these trackers actually read the soldiers? In the last scene these were used, we saw only the aliens, causing these sensors to beep. Very conveniently, I might add, even though that's twice the movie has suggested the sensors can pick up the humans.
7, 6.
That's inside the room.
Ripley, did you not see the last movie?
Oh my god, that is such fucking
So much
retarded
note
bullshit.
here, I'm shocked Hicks didn't die of stupidity. Also, I'm kind of amazed that Ripley and the others didn't notice this when they checked the schematics earlier. This is a pretty big basic area of the ship that would show up on blueprints, right?
Bastard! Come on, you too! Oh, you want some of that?
You know, as annoying as Hudson is in this movie, I want to knock off the Sims or help Bill patch the place. Maybe I'm being sentimental. You went full on into this one, but I'm also going to add a sin back for this sudden alien in the room that comes out of nowhere. You mean the aliens sent a whole group through the ceiling and then this one asshole through the floor? Yep, Burke is dead. My question is, though, how did he expect us to find any of this when all the exits were sealed? They were waiting for Bishop to do his shit while they stayed safely behind the walls, so I don't know what he was really expecting.
Which way is it to the landing field from here?
I know Newt's been crawling through these tunnels for a long time, but how the fuck did she get track of where the
God damn it! Fucking heads up would have been nice, jackass.
As amazing as these aliens are at finding people wherever they may be,
Thank you.
it's insane they didn't find Newt right away earlier in the movie.
Oh my fucking Christ.
Not that an alien really needs the element of surprise in this
There's
situation,
something fucking wrong with this gun. I'm holding right fucking trigger and it's fully automatic. It shoots 3 and then it stops. But the weird part is, then it shoots fully automatically. Like non-stop. I don't know if it's the controller or the fucking gun. Or it could be the game, knowing how fucking broken this fucking game is.
Hicks casually does a speedball to chill out after a hard day.
Yeah, there it is. He just did it again.
Badass, especially featuring a female character for a change. But Ripley had like a minute-long gun lesson with Hicks earlier, and now she's a weapons expert. And these cocoons are easy to tear apart. Oh my God, Ripley has a facehugger on her. Oh, that's just new. Ripley goes on a rampage against the alien eggs. Who could blame her? These aliens are super evil, and everyone is better off with them dead. But isn't this facility set to explode in about 5 minutes?
How badly do we get our asses
kicked? Get back on
Yeah,
the ship now, and B, the reactor's explosion will do this job for her. Can we establish rules for when someone gets acid on them after shooting an alien? Because it only happens when the plot really needs it to. Seriously, even the regular aliens can climb walls and ceilings with no problem. The Queen has to take an elevator?
Close your eyes, baby.
Machina Ex Machina comes in the form of Bishop and the ship is magic. Unless Newt had time to get to a path at some point during the escape, she suspiciously created the alien goo that was all over her 10 minutes. The alien Queen stowed away on the ship somewhere, patiently waiting for the trip before attempting an attack on Ripley and Newt. Back in college, I watched this movie in pop culture class. Yes, I got actual credit for studying pop culture. Isn't life awesome? Anyway, we were told to look for any kind of symbolism in the movie, and in this scene, 2 people in unison yelled, "Queen takes Bishop." It was annoyingly clever or cleverly annoying, depending on your point of view. I'm really sorry and glad to hear that movie today in this video series. Not only is it doubtful that the Queen had time to get on the rocket, it is possible that she would secretly fit where the landing gear usually goes. Also, this is a fucking great scare. I spent all this time cutting Bishop in half. She posed 0 threats to the aliens this whole movie. Now she's completely given up the element of surprise.
All sectors retreat. The battle's lost. We don't need any more losses today.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Thankfully, Ripley toiled in that menial shipping stocking job at the base, so she could probably come through out of this neck loader. Believe it or not,
33
Ripley
kills,
is in yet another airlock situation with an alien.
I'm not breaking the 90s, I'm not doing
final battle. Damn it, I thought in space no one could hear your scream. No, this ship looks like he's just been through the worst and most dangerous porn ever filmed.
My squad plays second place.
May is Mental Health Month, and it's a subject that means a lot to us here at CinemaSins. In fact, we're partnering with Mental Health America to not only raise awareness of mental health issues, but also raise a little money too. We've got a brand new CinemaSins t-shirt in the shop.
Four levels.
The profits from the sale and shirts will be donated to our friends at MHA. Also, if you'd like to learn more about mental health, you can check out cinemasins.com/mentalhealth-awareness.
I kinda don't hate the token system, but I
about certain behaviors that could indicate mental illness. Mental health conditions are real, common, and treatable. We can help reduce the burden of mental illness by identifying symptoms and warning signs early. So check out these resources. Mental Health Month works because it's about what others can do for us and what we can do for ourselves.
I'm loving it.
Alright, can I go now?
They're dead! They're all dead! He's alive! He's alive!
And it falls to freedom from 500 yards.
What is the bandits? Say to the page!
Situation has escalated across the entire
Is there air?
Damn, didn't get a single vehicle that time.
This whole place, everything you see is gone!
I'm playing this the hard way. You still on Destiny, Markio?
Tell him you got a bad feeling about this drop.
I got a bad
Nerd.
Hey guys, welcome to Foundflix and another special Everything Explained for the new Alien sequel, Alien Covenant. If you haven't seen the movie, there's going to be major spoilers, so be prepared. There is a lot in Covenant that connects us back to Prometheus and its unanswered mysteries. But Covenant is for the most part much more straightforward in how it lays things out. While it does answer some questions, there's of course many new questions that are raised and other story aspects that seem deliberately vague. So I will be looking at the movie in depth and doing my best to piece together everything that happens. And looking at things in depth like the engineer city, the Citadel, and the evolution of the aliens seen in this movie's version. And for any Prometheus fans looking for a real continuation of Shaw's journey for answers, you're out of luck. She's dead. And the engineers on Paradise? Dead. So in memoriam, let's pour out a 40 of black goo for the citizens of Paradise and Dr. Shaw. No answers for Amy. Thanks, Ridley. The opening scene of Covenant.
God damn it! Saved my life for all like 5 fucking seconds.
Young Wayland as well. And from David's birth, he already realizes the futility of the human race, noting that he will outlive his own father and indeed any other human he attempts to forge a relationship with. This scene makes it very clear who this new Alien series is really all about. David, even more so than the aliens themselves. We first see in Prometheus the development of David's character into his new creation-driven mentality after his first experiments with the black goo on Holloway. David, as an android, feels resentment as being thought of as a lesser being and wants to prove he is capable of creating life himself, thus proving the power that an android truly is capable of. And that is what is driving his desire to create what he believes to be the perfect organism, proving himself in a way as being God. He wants to be superior to humans and their creators, the engineers, as well. His story develops in interesting ways over the course of the movie, and we will dive further into David's character in a bit. Covenant picks up 10 years after the Prometheus goes missing, following a whole new doomed crew of the USCSS Covenant. It's worth noting too that even though this is a relatively short time after Prometheus, the company is now Weyland-Yutani rather than just Weyland Corp as in Prometheus. So between the two movies, the merger must have occurred. Perhaps after Weyland went missing, the company merged with Yutani to continue their deep space projects, because it's gotta be really expensive. Though we don't ever hear about the company sending.
God damn it, where the fuck's my team?
They do at least know back on
whole
Earth
fucking
the
team's
ship
in the
went
back of the
missing,
goddamn
as
bus.
Walter mentions it
The short bus, mind
so
you.
maybe the company was actually happy that Weyland disappeared, and without him around, they could merge without needing his permission, paving the way for the even more alien-obsessed company in the original Alien series. The Covenant ship is carrying 2,000 colonists, and their mission is to settle on the distant planet Lurk 6.
Oh my god, you can't be
Several
little
years out
fucking
from their
retard.
A neutrino blast hits their energy-collecting sail, awakening the crew from their hypersleep. Captain James Franco isn't so lucky though, and burns to death in his cryosleep chamber. It seems weird that he doesn't wake up like everyone else, but the prologue not in the movie includes the detail that Captain Franco is sick. So this must be the explanation for why he doesn't wake up. While repairing the sail, crewman Tennessee receives a strange glitched out transmission. They determine that the signal is coming from a nearby planet and appears to be human. We know it is coming from Elizabeth Shaw.
And shot in the fucking back by the same fucker who's just camping! I fucking hate, I can't, oh no, they're not gonna get rid of specialists, but I fucking hate that little grabbing hook using little fucking artillery.
Investigate it if it is indeed coming from a human this far out in space. And it turns out that this mysterious Planet 4 is perhaps even more suitable for colonization than their original destination. So maybe it's a happy coincidence that they stumbled across this perfect new planet. Well, no, not so much as they would quickly learn. On the surface, the away team checked out the environment, noticing there is no life whatsoever.
Oh my god, fucking
and it is definitely wheat, as Load says. I know wheat. It is odd that wheat is on Planet 4, as it is considered a human planet. So who planted it here? We know from Prometheus that the engineers visited our own planet several times over the course of thousands of years, and it makes sense that they would try to take plants from one planet and plant them on another one. So I think the engineers planted the wheat as an experiment to see if it was capable of also growing on Planet 4. Then we are introduced to the next incarnation of the black goo, now seen as tiny spores.
What? Where the fuck did that asshole show up from?
Releasing black spores which enter his body through the ear canal. The rest of the crew follows a path of destruction through the landscape, discovering Shaw and David's crashed Juggernaut ship. Here, Howlett is exposed to the same plant, but entering through his nose. And we see a much more direct progression in the mutation via the plant spores. Both Howlett and Leeward get ill very quickly, and then each birth a new alien mutation, the Neomorph. The mutation and birth is a lot quicker than it was back in Alien, but this is a different form of the black liquid rather than being through a facehugger infestation. The Neomorph has white skin and very sharp teeth, and also stands more on its two legs like a human. It emerges small but fully formed with arms and legs, looking like a miniature or toddler version of itself. It quickly grows in size after its birth, and at full evolution, which happens rapidly,
goddamn, can't be no
tall. Its behavior is more animalistic and primitive, quickly attacking everything it comes into contact with, rather than the methodical lurking in the shadows of the Xeno. It also feeds on its victims like an animal, rather than attempting to infest them. It just wants to kill. And we see this in the landing ship sickbay, where Ledford's Neomorph grotesquely bursts from his back, with so much blood everywhere. Ferris locks the sickbay door to keep the Neomorph contained, but it ends up getting loose anyway.
Oh, that's a grenade! Oh, that fucking stunk, but I'm alive!
Shoots some containers, blowing her and the land ship to smithereens. Then Howlett's Neomorph is born, attacking the crew, but they are saved by a flare from a hooded figure that scares the creature away. The hooded figure is revealed to be our favorite insane android David, with much longer hair, who has been stuck on the planet since he and Shaw's Juggernaut crashed here. He guides the covenant back to the engineer city, the Citadel, seeing piles of scorched bodies along the way. And as David interacts with the crew, especially his brother Walter, we learn much more about what David has been up to since we last saw him. Turns out he's been quite busy. Via flashback, David fills us in on what happened when they first arrived on the planet. He bombed the hell out of the engineers, unleashing a payload of black goo that wipes them out. But there's a lot more to what happened here, and specific details that are blatantly left out. First, let's investigate Shaw's fate. We don't see her alive in the movie, but do see her alive in the extended The Crossing prologue scene next to the bombing scene in the movie. It further expands on what happened after Prometheus, that Shaw and David did indeed continue their search for the engineer's homeworld. They were together for quite some time and ended up bonding in a surprising way, which Fassbender himself described as being like a married couple. The timeline is a bit confusing, as we don't know how long Shaw and David were flying around space. Notably, Shaw's hair growth is significant after Prometheus. Based on this, at least 6 months occurs before Shaw even repairs David. In this time, Shaw must have been piloting the ship with David's coaching until meeting him back in one piece. She does look a bit ill in this scene, and it makes sense that her body is still affected by the black goo inside of her. We've never seen anyone actually
superhero steroids pumping through my veins.
Doing so hot. It's also an interesting detail that the navigational map, bed, tools used, and bottles here are definitely not from the engineers. they are human. Shaw is also seen drinking a green drink at some point, and all of this indicates that David and Shaw at one point raided the Prometheus for supplies, maybe even before leaving the planet in the first place, as Shaw would at least need some kind of food to survive. So getting weaker, she puts David back together, and they head off for planet 4, believed to be the engineer's homeworld. We don't know how they actually find the planet, but we see Shaw drawing circles, leading me to believe they've been checking out a bunch of different planets and now think they finally have the right one. And in putting David back together, it seems that he really grew to appreciate Shaw's kindness, saying she's the nicest of any humans he's met, and much more so than Wayland, his father. And back in present time, he confesses to Walter that he actually loved her, something generally thought out of the realm of possibilities for an android. He even made a grave in remembrance of her on planet 4. These feel like true emotions coming from David and not an act. He truly did love Shaw.
Ah, god damn it. How the fuck?
But how is this even possible? Walter, a later generation model, tells David that the human aspects of David's original model were dialed down in later generations, as David was considered by his makers to be too human. We see that David has developed what could only be defined as emotions, and it appears to be because of the particular programming of his prototype model. Essentially, he is a broken robot, and that is what is leading to all of his increasingly insane and evil behavior. This ties back to Shaw, as we see that David was experimenting on her, but it seems like after his emotional connection, he wouldn't have wanted to kill her. It seems like what most likely happened is that during their time together, David began to develop feelings for Shaw, which were unreciprocated. It must have at least been that—
oh my Christ!
When he forces himself later upon Daniels, he says he will do the same thing he did to her. This must be
asked you.
Shaw, and I can see a similar scenario playing out with her as with Daniels, him forcing himself upon her and her turning him down, which hurts him deeply to the point of reacting violently. It makes sense considering how emotionally unstable he has become over time. We'll get back to David in a sec, but first let's look at the bombing itself, because even though this scene is only a few seconds on screen, there's still quite a lot to analyze. What struck me immediately is that the beings on this planet don't really look like the engineers from Prometheus. Yes, they are white-skinned, bald, and mostly androgynous, but they look much more humanoid. The Prometheus engineers are much larger, and almost to me seem like perfect specimens of these engineers. They also have steely black eyes. The beings seen on planet 4 have the whites of their eyes, and there's short ones, fat ones, and even a really old one wearing a crown seen very briefly. If we are to believe this is the engineer's homeworld, then these beings seen are engineers, but maybe they're more like apostles, as described by Ridley, and the ones seen in Prometheus are genetically tailored to be used for military purposes. We know the engineers are all about that black goo, so it makes sense that they would utilize the same technology on their own species to improve upon it. And that's where the beefy engineers come in. There's also the concept of there being a larger hierarchy to the engineer society than seen before, and I think we are getting a peek into that here. There would have been elder engineers featured in Prometheus who are the creators of the engineers, but the scene was cut out before release. But even if cut, this seems to be based upon
eat shit! The melee should be an instant kill. That is such bullshit. I got it with an axe to the face, but it takes 2 hits to kill someone with a melee in this game, which is actually really dumb. I don't like that.
Also contains the Hall of Heads, a library with all of the engineers' knowledge, and along the walls are gigantic head statues, most likely in tribute to the beings that are their higher powers. This is also pretty similar to the big head seen back in the Amphiel room on LV-223 and Prometheus. So while David probably wiped out this planet's population, which could indeed be the engineers'
oh, I got stuck on something, you fat bitch!
And we never see the teardrop ship from the opening of Prometheus either. So there's probably still a lot more to see with the engineers' place in the grander scope of the story. Then the impact of the bombing is strange too. David releases the black goo, which has an immediate devastating effect on the engineers, but it doesn't look like the goo really. It looks more like a giant swirling cloud of spores. And the spores seem to form into darts or arrows and actually impale.
Where the fuck's my goddamn stupid ass team?
Marshmallows to a burnt looking crisp.
My squad is literally right next to me, and no one did shit.
As one would expect from the goo's behavior.
Gohan becomes the most powerful in the universe and still doesn't do crap.
It seems the weaponized black goo is based on the spores rather than the actual black goo liquid we've seen. And it makes sense that the pathogen in different forms would have different effects on its victims. In this case, it doesn't mutate them, but kills them, which is actually a lot more efficient than turning everyone into monsters or whatever. It was just still quite surprising to see this happen in that way. And the whole thing happened
where the
too.
fuck
So if you guys have any more
is my
insight on
team?
this, please let me know what you guys thought.
Why am I the only one trying to cap C right now?
Is tied to that other massive scorpion ship that is seen when David approaches the Citadel. The planet doesn't seem to have much defense in place, and the citizens gather in a nice big open area when David shows up. Maybe they think it's those engineers that have been gone for 2,000 plus years finally returned from their mission to destroy humanity. That took forever, but then David drops the goo, causing widespread destruction. So perhaps the scorpion ship is their defense system. And once the engineers were infected, the ship activated and attacked David's juggernaut, since he just attacked their planet, leading the ship to get damaged and crash.
Occupied.
Whatever happened, the engineers are definitely not around on this planet anymore, and David is left all alone, using his idle hands to continue his experiments with the black goo that began in Prometheus. In his workshop, we see drawings of all kinds of creatures, from bugs to facehuggers. There's several tiny skulls, an alien egg that has been spliced into pieces, and what appears to be a preserved engineer. But most tragically of all, we see the body of Elizabeth Shaw. Her body is seen torn open on a table for examination, and her head is seen with alien protrusions coming out from both sides, most likely a reference to this famous Giger painting. Based on the drawings found by Daniels of Shaw, it appears that David was using her in various experiments for quite some time. While we don't know exactly what David did to her, he at least was studying her anatomy, most likely to learn about the human reproductive system. I do wonder.
Oh goddamn! What am I stuck on? Really? Who the fuck puts that in the middle of the goddamn way?
He was able to mutate or create an incubation chamber for the facehugger, as we see he
fuck me sideways.
Or ovomorph, recognized from the original Alien series. And it's an appropriately brutal end for Shaw if this is the case. She was incapable of producing life herself, but in the end is indirectly responsible for the creation of these horrible, deadly alien creatures.
Oh my god, you should just see the amount of fucking deaths right now.
As he was missing a key
and I got shot in the back because my team's fucking retarded. He can't do shit.
It seems like he was able to get a hold of some at some point based on the lab. But I literally have no idea how if you bomb the entire planet's population into oblivion.
God,
regardless,
if there is a god, and I'm starting to really question that right now.
New bodies to work with.
Nope,
David also seems to have a very strong connection to the neomorph and seems able to control it, or at least interact with it in some way. David does seem to respect the creature as being his own creation, and is definitely emotionally affected when Orym lays waste to the Neo David was chatting with. As a result of killing his child, he introduces Orym to his fully functioning egg chamber, and one comes to life, a facehugger emerging out and attacking him, leading to a protomorph emerging from Orym. In this movie, the plant spores produce neomorphs, and the facehuggers create a protomorph. Just like the neomorph, the protomorph is born with all of its limbs and has a much faster gestation cycle.
Goddamn worthless fucking god.
It took about 12 hours to burst an alien, and in its infancy there looks more like a 2v1. It definitely is without arms and legs. The protomorph is by far the closest physical appearance to the xenomorph. But just as with the neomorph, there are other notable differences beyond its rapid life cycle. The proto is much smoother and organic in appearance, missing the ridges as well as the Xeno's trademark biomechanical enhancements. It also walks upright at points rather than mostly on all fours, which looks kind of silly. Behavior-wise, the protomorph is much
shot in the fucking back!
More foolish than the Xeno.
Same fucker. This one guy's killed me 4 fucking times. This mega giga.
Now let's look at the two android brothers.
I hope someone you love lives a long and healthy life, but I want you to get hit by a car.
Teaching him how to play the flute and revealing to him his feelings of love for Shaw. David thinks that Walter feels the same about Daniels, as he sacrificed his
and my rest of my squad's all over the place. Fuck my life, what I would give just to have a fucking group of friends to play this shit with.
All of those edges of the David model have been smoothed to a nub in the Walter version. And this is what makes David different than any other model. He is the most human there will ever be.
And I'm dead. Fuck my life, because once again, my team is retarded.
Androids more explicitly servants. And it truly seems his specific programming has led to David developing emotions, at least since Prometheus.
You know what,
he was
fuck
always
it. I'm
cold
just gonna
and
take
had
the
no real
transport
reaction to
fucking
things back then. Yet in
Can't
Covenant,
shoot
he yells
shit,
in
but I can
anguish
at
when
least
Orym kills
fucking
the
annoy
Proto,
people.
and again truly seemed to love Shaw, even if he did possibly kill her. And he hopes that through Walter he might have met an equal being to himself. But he realizes that Walter truly is a lesser being than he is, and capable of all of these emotions David now has flowing through him. To me, it looks like David is in fact studying Walter in these scenes in order to take his position and lead the planet. When we see David cut his hair to match Walter's, this becomes even more apparent. And that is indeed what we see occur. First, David stabs Walter with a flute, but Walter, unlike David, is able to heal himself, leading to a big altercation that we don't see the outcome of. As they leave the planet on another away ship piloted by Tennessee, Orm's Proto sneaks on board, attacking the ship. Daniels manages to take it out by luring it into the away ship's giant claw thing, crushing it. And it seems like that's the end of that. But Lode also had an encounter with the facehugger on the planet. Even though it was very brief, only on him for seconds, this was seemingly enough to eventually cause a Proto to grow inside of him. Though since it was only on him for a few brief moments, the process does take more time than for Orm. And now Daniels, Tennessee, and Walter, really David, hunt the Protomorph on the ship. It's hard to say why it is that David helps him at all in this scene. Wouldn't it be easier to guide the Proto right to them and kill them? But for whatever reason, he is playing a
Promoted! Actually, level 40, 74,
Daniels
baby.
is able to suck the Protomorph into space, impaling it with a piece of terraforming equipment, taking out the second Proto. In the end, they decide to continue with their mission to Orgai 6, heading to their cryo beds. But as Daniels is placed into hers by David, she asks him about helping her build her log cabin, something she had discussed several times with Walter. But David doesn't know what she's talking about, and Daniels finally realizes what happened. Don't let the bedbugs bite, David deadpans as Daniel screams, fading into cryosleep. Though there's a specific odd detail that is missing here. Earlier,
I hate this thing can't turn.
Ice nail, but it doesn't look like there's any wound on David at all in this scene right there. It's really hard to think of this as an oversight. It seems like a significant detail to miss. And from what we know, David can't self-heal. But we also don't see the final result of what happens in the fight between David and Walter, so we at least know that it is David we're seeing now at the end. It's safe to assume that David managed to destroy Walter, so is he somehow able to gain Walter's healing ability? Maybe David was able to implant that main source chip of Walter's seen in the Walter commercial. We also see that David knows Walter's security codes on the
dot hack sign all over again, Markel.
Would have casually talked about, so it implies that David was in some way able to tap into Walter's knowledge and upgrade.
Yes, if I die in the game, I die in real life.
And taking his chip could be one way this would work. In a chilling final scene, David walks the floors of the Covenant, asking Mother to put on Wagner's entry of the gods into Valhalla, a song with
fuck you, Dot Hat Sign did it first.
Religious overtones for David playing God.
I actually don't know who did it first, but the earliest memory I have is Dot Hat Sign.
New subjects for David. He approaches an embryo storage area and violently coughs up a few alien embryos. Little facehuggers seen inside. David, pretending to be Walter, leaves a transmission back to Weyland Yutani, even using Walter's code, saying that all
get
but
fucked.
2 crew
I
members
got
died,
fucked up
and the
right
ship
now.
continues onwards towards Orgai 6. Where do things go from here? We know David hasn't quite mastered his organism yet, and with a ship full of colonists, he's got plenty of genetic material to work with. So hopefully he will finally create the Xeno in the next film, and it makes sense that he would include the biomechanical aspects, including bits of himself as an android in order to lead to that classic Xeno. And I really
God damn it! Fuck me!
Back in the sequel.
If I was trying to get this goddamn machine gun, fuck me, I would be using my goddamn good guns.
2 movies so far. Someone's gotta finally take that bastard offline for
shit?
good. It's odd too, as the end of Covenant takes us even further away
too
from
many.
connecting back to
I still need. I haven't gotten a kill with a grenade
timeline
launcher in a
of
hot
things,
minute.
It's hard to see how it will add up at this point. The eggs in Alien were supposed to be several thousand years old, but in the story so far, we've already lapsed past that time frame. We know that Ridley has at least 2 more sequels in mind, with Alien Awakening coming up next. So hopefully he's got something up his sleeves that will tie this whole thing together in a meaningful way. Well guys, I think that will do it for my in-depth look at Covenant and the bigger mythology the series seems to be setting up. What did you guys think of the movie? Were you disappointed they pulled an Alien 3 and
I know I did
Shaw?
shit. Yeah, there's
What
that
other
fucking
questions do you
camping
guys
little
still
shit that
have?
just ran in
Let me know
circles.
in the comments below. Thanks for watching Found Flicks. See you next time.
Yeah, 12 assault rifle kills.
Alex and
Fuck me,
Ben,
if I
here
didn't
are
have
the
to get
kids,
this
finding
stupid
his
ass
room
machine
in
gun
a
I'm
total
trying to
state
get.
of disaster. Robbie is there drawing weird stuff on Wyatt's body, including that triangle coven symbol on his back. Since Robbie isn't given any answers, it's time for some trusty online research. Learning the symbol is a Hadousak symbol of fertility, related to a demon taking possession of a male. There are 3 stages required for the possession, it turns out. First, to show signs of being preternatural or beyond what is normal, as in being able to see the spirit. Step 2 is prove their preternatural ability to the demon. Then a sacrifice, with the potential host having spilled the blood of someone pure, i.e. a virgin. Bad news for Alex, as she is a virgin. Ben jokes, well, he can take care of that real quick. Yeah, great time for jokes, Ben. A few days later, the time has come for the next stage. Robbie telling Wyatt that it's time to go, and guiding him to his house across the street, Alex not that far behind. The front door slightly ajar, she steps inside, all the furniture in the house covered in sheets. Then we get our biggest surprise of the movie yet, Katie appearing, who thanks her for the help, also saying that Wyatt looks just like his mom. This was all just to get Robbie into their house to get Wyatt. She's most certainly not Robbie's actual mom either. Perhaps he's another child being primed for his own ritual, making it seem like she's going around the country taking these kids and raising them for evil purposes. She asks why they went to her house in the first place, and Wyatt says it was just to meet his mom, who wanted them to be friends since both are adopted. But how would she know Wyatt was adopted? And she also
Project
told
Melody
him
skinny,
that
I'll buy
needs
that.
him back.
I was about to buy him on freaking Call of Duty. It was still on the store, but it wasn't there anymore, so I didn't buy it.
Which we find out specifically on night 10. Coming downstairs to chat with Toby, Wyatt gets upset, saying his name is Wyatt, not Hunter. Hunter, of course, being Christy's baby that was taken by Katie a few years back. A boy figure seen approaching from behind in the connect dots. Robbie informs him that it's his time, and the spirit gets his chance when Wyatt is in the tub. He gets dragged under the water, calling out for his mother, who can't hear him. He later emerges from the water, and when getting out appears to be a bit dazed. Well, looks like Wyatt's been possessed. When Alex is left alone to babysit, the spirit with some help goes after her. Katie is sitting on the couch, calmly getting up and walks towards Alex. She hears the garage door open, but it seems to be stuck. Going to get a closer look, the door slams closed behind her, rumbling and odd crackling sounds all around her. The car turns itself on, and of course the door is sealed shut, leaving her trapped as the room fills with toxic fumes. Katie takes the opportunity to visit a sleeping Wyatt, telling him he's almost ready, assuring that she'll be waiting until he is. As Alex makes a daring escape attempt, smashing the car window with a golf club, and backs the car up right through the garage. Well, that'll work. That's one way to get out. Nice job. When her parents return, they think she's talking crazy again, even though she points out that she didn't even have the keys, making the whole thing pretty hard to explain away as just being normal. Her dad is concerned about her, asking her to go out to dinner to talk, giving Toby another easy opportunity to strike. Mom is distracted on the phone, and Katie is back, now standing in the living room, slowly ascending the stairs to Wyatt's room. Mom is drawn to the bookshelf, where one keeps falling down by itself, hearing an odd growling sound. Her hair is blown back, and she's lifted into the air and violently dropped into a heap on the floor. Katie does clean up, leaving the room undisturbed as a distraught Ben arrives, with more information on the symbol and the coven. He decides to pull it up on her computer, not noticing Katie appearing right behind him, and snaps his neck, then placing his body in the closet. When Alex and her dad come home later, she notices someone was on her computer and calls Ben, hearing his phone ringing from the closet. There, she spots his body and is dragged out of the room, running outside yelling for her dad, who is heading over to Katie's. Inside, he's being flung around and dragged all over the house and into another room. She hears Wyatt yelling for her, but the voice goes quiet when asking where he is. A demon-faced Katie rushes her, breaking the door down. She leaps out of the window, finding her brother outside, but he doesn't move, and she now notices a whole bunch of women all donned with the triangle necklace. Demon Katie strikes her, and, well, that's all she wrote. We don't actually see Alex get killed, but I'd say that's pretty much a given. And spilling of her blood was the final step for the ritual. So it makes sense to think that Wyatt, really Hunter, has fulfilled his greater purpose of serving as a host for the demon Toby. Not so fast, it turns out. As before we revisit the ever-expanding Toby saga, we leave Katie and the rest and venture to Oxnard, California in the marked ones, following a young man newly graduated from high school, Jesse, as he becomes possessed over the course of the movie, with some surprising results. Initially, we follow Jesse's teen misadventure with a newly purchased camera, taking it on a tour of his apartment.
I'm back, and we're going immediately
isn't so sure of, who they call Crazy Anna, saying he's heard wailing and moaning coming from the vents. Later, hearing some quite loud screams emanating from there, a kid from their school, Oscar, walks out from her apartment, but gives them the cold shoulder and walks off without a word. Later, hanging with his grandma, Irma, they are able to to convince her to do some shots. And after 2, she's dancing around and singing, which is actually pretty hilarious. Granny cannot hold her liquor. Their fun is halted by some more strange sounds, just as Jesse described, coming from Anna's apartment below. Wishing they could somehow see down there, Hector has the genius idea of using their GoPro.
Come on, gotta get to the front lines. I gotta help my fellow soldiers.
The naked woman is standing there motionless.
The patient revealed.
Joins her.
Now!
On her stomach, a red circle inside of a triangle. You know the one. This suddenly expands the series in a big way, because we now know that there's more than one group of witchy women out there who are part of the midwives. Irma had always believed that Anna was a witch, but now Jesse believes it as well, which is odd considering his next choice. Instead of leaving her alone, knowing what a witch theoretically could do, they decide to have some fun with Anna, getting a little kid to knock on her door and shout "Bruja!" Which she isn't too pleased with the joke, warning Jesse that he doesn't know what is going to happen to him. Oh well, let's shoot some probably dangerous Mexican fireworks in the alley. The same boy from earlier, Oscar, leaps down onto the dumpster, the cops soon overtaking the entire area, seeing a body getting taken out of the building. Anna's! It seems Oscar had his own theories about Anna being a witch, and decided to take matters into his own hands, well, by murdering her. The kids choose not to tell the cops about seeing Oscar, as in the heartbeats of Oxnard, stitches, stitches. Further convinced she was into some weird shit, Hector and Jesse break into her apartment in search of clues.
Oh, goddamn it, shot in the back!
To an active crime scene, and Hector only shows their ineptitude here, touching like literally every single thing in the place. You know about fingerprints, right, bro? Hearing what sounds like a baby crying.
He's so awesome with your sneak,
along with a bunch of
sneakiness,
tools, implying they've been delivering babies in this filthy apartment. Well, maybe if they're demon babies, the whole sterilized environment thing isn't a big deal. Who knows? In the closet amongst many belongings are a box of tapes, including, yep, Katie and Christy, 1988. So Anna is at least aware of the kids. In another room, the walls are completely covered in blood, including the words "live" spelled out. Here they find Anna's journal, encountering Arturo, the older brother of our tutor Oscar, who tells them to get out, which they promptly do. Deciding to read the journal,
really?
Build a door
Fucking
that
hacks.
can travel through time, but only unholy places can be accessed through it.
Yourself, don't tell me what to do.
A literal black mirror by spraying it with spray paint.
God damn it! I fucking missed the vehicle by a second.
Places. Again, great idea as usual, kids. Making a large coven symbol on the ground, they place the black mirror on top and begin to say the spell, even admitting that they don't even know what's supposed to happen. It appears to have no effect, but it did function as was described in the journal. And once again, these fools have invited the evil right to them. The next day, Hector wakes Jesse up by drawing a dick and Sharpie on his face. Annoyed, Jesse recounts a weird dream that he had of being on a farm with a bunch of old women, seeing some blood on his sheets coming from a mysterious bite on his arm, just as we saw with Christy and Katie's possessions. Well, nice knowing you, bud, but it's a slow descent, it turns out, to lose his humanity.
Oh my god, fucking A.
A spirit later communicates with him via the classic 80s light-up game Simon. It seems to respond to their question with a green light for yes and red for no. But superstitious grandma does not like it, and thinking it is a bad idea takes the game away. Still worried over bad spirits, she lays down a thick layer of vinegar all around the apartment to ward them off. I'd wager it's Jesse that she should actually be worried about when the pals go out to shoot some hoops. They're accosted by some unsavory customers and beat the crap out of them. He yells for them to stop, and both get force-flung into oblivion, allowing them to escape. Just as the Toby spirit has done multiple times, Jesse has started experiencing similar behavior, and later has another cool trick to show Hector, able to get caught by the spirit, appearing to kind of hover in midair. Then Jesse takes it to the next level of absolute absurdity,
Another
able to
retard
grind
team.
down the rail, literally flying into the air.
What are the chances?
Wow, okay. Weird no one else has tried using their possession to pull off sick tricks. Jesse revels in his new powers, even able to pick up chicks with ease at a party, taking them back to the sexiest place in town, Anna's disgusting and evil apartment. His catch Penelope actually seems super into it though, really making it appear Jesse has supernatural hump abilities, or she perhaps just has very low standards. She's surprised by a trap door flinging open, and it's the missing Oscar inside, seeing he has the same mark of a bite on his arms, as well as little critters crawling under his skin. He informs Jesse the only way
Oh my god, you shouldn't be able to just fucking strike like that.
Oscar assumes the turrets across the street
and yeah, fuck this stupid ass game.
Going back through the footage, they notice
I don't care who the fuck you are. You shouldn't just run left and right and dodge bullets like that. That's not how real fucking life works.
Back at Anna's, they enter the secret basement, seeing that Anna clearly had him selected before her death. A kind of shrine down there, including him all the way back to pictures as a baby, along along with another picture of his mother
Yeah,
during
we got
her
a tank that's
pregnancy
literally
with
just sitting here in the
Anna.
back.
Well, looks like his mother was selected just like the lady we saw in Anna's apartment earlier. And Jesse was marked
Oh no,
to be
he
taken
abandoned
from
it, that's
even
why.
before his birth. And thanks to names inscribed on the back, it appears that Grandma Lois is in on this as well. He later
Don't know what the
notices
fuck he's
something
trying to do.
a long black string that he pulls out, terrifying Jesse that he's running out of time. Desperate for answers, they reach out to Arturo, Oscar's older brother, and he remembers Oscar about a month ago started acting different, then started acting crazy, busting shit up in the house. And he also found files from his brother that appear to reveal the midwife's grand ambitions. They are trying to build an army of kids all around the world, all firstborn boys. And he even got in contact with Allie, our one surviving teen daughter from Paranormal 2. Jesse continues to get more consumed by the evil growing inside him, having an intense encounter at the store when a guy is talking with Marisol, knocking him over unprovoked. But when the shopkeeper tells him to leave, he encourages him to attack, grabbing the bat when he swings it and taking it out of his hands. Now understanding that he is changing and is becoming unable to control himself, he reaches out through the Simon to the spirit. It says that it wants something from him and goes to red when he just wants it to leave him alone, finally holding it down. Yep, you're screwed, dude. No way out of this one. Another encounter at Anna's is the tipping point for Jesse. Hearing his dog through the vents, he follows the yipping down into the basement. A woman seen standing in the door behind him as he crawls down. Passing through some plastic sheets, he comes across young Katie and Christy. The door then slamming closed, trapping him inside, as one says he's ready for you. Loud footsteps loom towards him, bursting through the plastic and knocking him over. After this, just as Arturo said about Oscar, Jesse becomes strangely quiet and acts like a total Nicktoons BFF, saying that they're not really friends. Obviously, the possession has taken further hold. Even Neos, written on the wall, meaning mine. Fortunately, Hector took Allie's number, who meets them and explains more about the midwives and how they mark an unborn male in utero, waiting until it matures at 18 to be possessed. Guess how old Jesse is. She refers to it being an evil infection in the body, but says that it can be stopped via a ritual to bring him back to normal, or otherwise Jesse will be gone for good. It unsurprisingly doesn't go well, Jesse appearing unamused as they rub eggs all over his head and body. He then grabs another, smashing it in Irma's hand, falling to the ground and groaning, the lights flickering and cutting off completely. Immersed in darkness, the walls appear to be bending and morphing. Jesse appears out of nowhere, and it looks like he's traveled to one of those Black Mirror portals. The next morning, he's looking even worse, and he quickly disappears from bed.
All by myself and my squad and my tank. His squad, not my
She's
squad.
not dead at least, but it is not looking good at this point for Jesse, who suddenly again vanishes without a trace. Referring back to that map they found, they know the location on it must be the site of the final ritual to claim his soul, and decide to enlist his dad's help, but don't make it to him. Hector's car is suddenly breaking down. Jesse is there, standing ominously down the street, the car not turning over and the doors jammed. As he lunges on the roof, scuttling around before appearing at Hector's window, and smashes it, grabbing him out of the door and choking him. Marisol subdues him with a bat, the two throwing him in the back seat. The midwives aren't taking any chances, however. A truck coming out of nowhere, and when they come to, Jesse is gone. At least they know where he was taken, the house on the map, getting Arturo's help before they go.
Out of there before my tank goes pop.
Pretty serious artillery. Let's toast some witches. They sneak onto the property, which seems strangely empty and quiet, which we can also recognize this as being Grandma Lois's house, and must be the main hub for the company.
Gotta go support Charlie 1. I'm coming, Charlie. Oh, we're also losing Alpha? Goddamn.
Some food and stuff, along with a woman who screams for help. The first women attack, getting blown to smithereens by Arturo, but they see that way more than they could have imagined. In the fray, Santo gets injured, everyone dragging him back inside and locking the door. In another
I already uninstalled it. I'm probably gonna buy it, but I have no idea when.
On the floor. And when turning back,
because I already have too many games I have to play.
When the boys call his name, Hector is lured to the window, and someone smashes their head right through it. Even more witches are literally down every corridor, and he spotted what looks like a woman in a sheet with blood on it, as Marisol plummets through the glass ceiling. Someone else appears with wide eyes, talking all crazy.
Destiny.
Man, nuts around here. Probably the best fight nights of all this. Then it's Jesse's turn, chasing Hector to a room upstairs.
You still have me touch Tiny Tina's.
All around the door, we see ornate symbols carved. And on the other side, Jesse, in normal voice,
are you finally gonna start getting home in the normal side? In all honesty.
So Jesse breaks the dang thing down.
Okay, in that case we can start.
Camera glitches, and it appears
we can start if you start getting home at a normal time, like 4 or 5, then we start playing like Dead by Daylight or freaking
Originally, Katie came downstairs screaming for Micah, which all occurred off screen, and now we are taken back to that moment from a different perspective. Confused, he puts a hand on her shoulder, and she stares right at him before screaming for Micah, who runs downstairs, as you remember. Katie promptly stabbing the shit out of him. Hector rounds a corner, and
pick a game or kill God.
Waiting for him and nabs him up. Katie then reaches down, shutting the camera off. The idea of portals through doorways is actually one of the more interesting aspects introduced in the whole series, and being able to only go to cursed places makes sense. This making it possible for Hector to travel to the night of Micah's murder. And now we know that the midwives are assembling an army of children to probably take over the world. That kind of old
I think that was a land. Oh yeah, these fuckers. I've almost run into like 3 landmines. These fuckers have saved my ass with that.
Specific requirements to
go to turn left here. Don't want that tank fucking me up.
Or does he even need his body anymore? Just make sure.
Ah, damn it. The tank's fucking me up. Yeah, he already took up my tires.
Continuing after the end of part 3, where Grandma Lois took them upstairs. There they meet some guy who claims to be their teacher, and they are all about Toby. The guy saying he's known him by many names. Even Lois has too. Everybody knows Toby. They lay out quite clearly their long-term plan with the girls, which we didn't know anything about before now. Christy is going to have a son that will be chosen. While Katie's
I lost the main gun and we fucking got shot twice by the tank. He's probably chasing our ass.
1 year after Alex and her family encountered the evil, Paranormal Activity 4, it moves on to another family at Christmas time in 2013, who are in fact living in a new house built over Christy and Katie's childhood home. So the family is literally living right on top of where all this bad stuff already happened. Sounds like bad juju in my book. This is also how they happen upon some tapes in the closet, along with Dennis's monstrous camcorder that's gotten some serious supernatural upgrades. At first, the footage on it looks glitchy and weird, blurred on the edges, and later starts picking up trippy stuff like light triggers in an odd shape right in the middle of the room, which dissipates into a bunch of blobs, appearing like he's underwater when walking through it. Yep, somehow this camera has the ability to see the spirit through the lens, normally invisible to the human eye and regular cameras. When he cracks it open, he finds it's completely custom, boasting 6 picture tubes and an extra focus ring, meaning someone, somewhere, upgraded this thing themselves, which is never explained whatsoever. Trying it out again, he catches his young daughter talking to someone, seeing if
I think somebody just dropped the goddamn bomb on me.
Dang, it's Toby. Here we go again. And obviously the special girl Katie was asked to find is Layla. Toby now infiltrating the house to get to her, digging through the tapes he's found. It's Dennis's old footage from part 3, but there is more unseen footage with the girls after.
God damn it, the Captain C1 again? This is it, fellas. This is where we die. For America!
Several parts of a girl's room, including a tent, and it becomes obvious that she's describing Layla's room, even though this occurred decades earlier. He then catches more of the particles, and a ball is launched from the darkness at the lens, knocking him over. They continue to see this black mass, just as Katie described all the way back in the first movie, when Skylar, whoever the hell she is, someone's sister or whatever, they take the camera outside and don't notice as a giant black wisp flies right behind her. They are surprised to find Layla out there, the swirling still in view as Mike grabs the camera. Looks like Toby is already influencing little Layla, as she was out in the yard burying her mother's rosary. Made crystal clear when Ryan tries to talk to her, and she says she doesn't want to talk to him. Yep, it's Toby, and he's already got his hooks into her. She's found chanting Bloody Mary backwards, with blood on her hand, even seeing a shadowy hand appear and smash the glass. They find an object on the ground with Katie and Christy on it, and their casual recounting of what happens kind of changes the whole series in a way. They say, as we know, that there was a fire in 1992.
God damn it. Worth it. I got 1 kill with my grenade launcher. Worth it.
Were never heard
I need
from
15
again.
more
So
kills, I think,
since
because I think
kids,
I was
they
at
weren't
14.
really ever just normal people, apparently, and just kind of demons, I guess. That's a very weird detail to include, as it again completely changes our perspective on the sisters entirely. They've been actively a part of this grand Toby ritual the whole time, which actually doesn't make much sense, but okay. Setting up cameras just like the previous families, it appears that Toby is getting stronger. Instead of the particles, he is now a viscous black fluid that pours through the floor and ceiling, and becomes an arm of some sort that reaches towards Layla's diorama. So it's these things that have been doing all the various pan rattling and chandelier shaking of the series, which we're actually seeing in action now. It continues through a standard MO, increasing in frights to feed on the family's
assholes, stop revealing my location.
Fuck
you, guy.
Oh no, not the angel. You
trying to reveal my location. No, I revealed your location.
Of the sisters being trained
by shooting you in the face.
And again, Christy is able to describe the room.
Revealing location since 1991.
But the topper is when a sleepless Layla comes in and sneezes. On the tape, Christy saying, "God bless you," which is pretty weird how they're all starting to play with time and stuff here. As with many other children before, Layla considers Toby a friend, and children are easily susceptible, as you remember, and he gets her to draw a door, as was introduced in the marked ones. Layla curiously
You're all pieces of shit for not resing me. You're all literally right next to me. Thank you.
Some of Toby's dark substance.
Fine,
she's not as keen anymore on her new friend, and becomes increasingly worried that he's going to take her away to be with the others. Getting the opinion of the priest, Father Michael, can easily tell the girl is being tormented by a demonic presence and attempts to talk to her, seeing Hunter written on the wall. And we all know who that is. She seems calm enough and agreeable until suddenly lunging at his neck. As Ryan digs through more tapes for answers, it starts to look like they too had a part in this whole complicated scheme, with people at their house saying this is perfect for him and describing it as having a good entry point, meaning a good place to create one of their time portals. And another familiar name makes it seem like he was essentially placed here, hearing that the real estate agent was named Katie Hubbard. Sounds like a
goddamn, I was gonna switch to my grenade launcher.
And of course, the person on the line
I regret it. Should've just shot him first.
So even their moving here was set up from the beginning for them to play their part in the Coven's master plan. After another encounter with Wispy knocking down all the dishes, they discover another strange coincidence. Coming across a missing persons article on Hunter, they learn that he has the exact same birthday as Layla, which is even stranger when they see footage of him from 1992 with the sisters, several years before being born. Now wondering if this is where Toby intends on taking her. You betcha! That night the door Layla do is open, exposing a cave on the other side.
Worth it! Oh my god, this thing like, shoots pretty slow from the assault rifle, but then again, what the fuck do I know about assault rifles?
But they drag her off to a motel anyway, even though we know leaving will make no difference.
Whip up my grenade launcher again and
they're uncovering what Layla's
see if I can find some people to blast.
Convoluted ritual. A slain lamb will be used against God, for the blood of the chosen ones will taint it and help give life to one of the 7 princes of hell. Okay, wow. So Toby is a prince of hell apparently, and it's Layla's blood. Thanks to her sharing Hunter's birthday. The entire intention is to give Toby a human body of his own.
I got shot.
From another room.
Trying to get kills with this fucking grenade launcher sucks, yo. Where am I now? Got quite a few kills. 18 out of 30 grenade launcher kills, more kill.
Father Michael then returns and offers that they don't need an exorcism, but an extermination. His plan being to trap the demon by using Layla as bait by catching it in the sheets and burning it to hell. That's all it takes, wrapping him up in a sheet and lighting him on fire? That really doesn't sound hard, honestly. Well, I'm sure that will go well like all the other rituals so far in the series. Creating a perimeter circle out of salt, they place Layla inside. Layla's eyes turning dark.
Ah, you snipey little shit!
5 seconds in before the lights cut out. And in night vision mode, the father is pulled away by the dark forest. Jeez, that one even worse than I thought it would. My goodness. They huddle together in the circle as the spirit appears to grow more agitated. And when it jumps into the circle, it does appear trapped. They put the sheets
all I'm trying to do is blow people up with my grenade launcher, Markel, and people won't even let me do that.
The demon gone and everyone complimenting.
All I'm trying to do is blow people up with my grenade launcher, and assholes aren't gonna let me do that.
Acidic liquid, and Layla flees upstairs. Ryan isn't far behind and gets impaled.
I am not blowing them good enough, but I'm trying.
To Layla's room, freaking out upon seeing the open black mirror door in the wall. Sure, let's try it out. She ventures inside, and the camera glitches, which is a telltale sign that she, like Hector, has traveled to another time and cycle.
Oh god!
This time it's Katie and Chrissy's childhood home, but sometime after their parents were killed, as we see everything is
they hurt me, Markel. They hurt me bad.
Lives there now. She hears Layla giggling and jumps around all over the place, saying it's too late. The darkness is coming. Passing through a dark area to the laundry room, Christy tells her it's done. He's real now. The other girl standing behind her. A pool of blood is spotted on the ground, dripping from a spot on the ceiling. She pans back to Layla, giving a weird little smirk, muttering, "It's okay, Mom, you only need 1 drop of my blood."
Yup, you better run. Got him with my armor-piercing grenade launcher shot, and then he ran like a puss.
As a pair of male legs merge. She pleads with him to leave them alone as he got what he wanted. He silently caresses her face and lifts her into the air, snapping her neck, falling into the camera and knocking it on its side. Layla
I actually have to look on that. Actually, what's this week's seasonal challenges?
Way to go, Toby! You finally got that ball you wanted after all. You did it, bud. Well, it did take one incredibly complicated ritual in like 70 or 80 years to finally happen. But yeah, patience pays off, you know? This is a pretty fitting final place to leave the series because this, as we know, turned out to be the grander story of Paranormal Activity as it mutated into a franchise. And it seems the producers felt the same way, billing Ghost Dimension as the big finale for the series. But it's no surprise you can't let a good franchise stay dormant for too long. So I wasn't exactly shocked when it was announced that Blumhouse is working on a 7th entry. And when first announced, it was originally slated to come out next year. But who knows at this point when it'll actually come out. It's doubtful that they're even in production at this moment, so we have no details whatsoever of what the story will be comprised of, and could be a kind of reboot of the first film, ending up the scares from the now quite tame original, and keeping things nice and simple story-wise. However, there's still quite a bit of story left at the end of Ghost Dimension, and I think it would be way more interesting to pick up where we left things off here, with Toby finally in the flesh. This will force the filmmakers to push things into a different direction, whether they want to or not, and would potentially completely avoid the whole haunted house and camera setup that the first film did. It obviously had diminishing returns with each entry. Again, I like the marked ones a lot because it was at least a little bit different, you know what I mean? Just kind of the same thing over and over is not very fun. I'll be curious to see which direction they do inevitably decide to take things. And you know that whenever it comes out, we'll be covering it here. So stay tuned. And don't forget, before we go, you can send me requests for any movies or TV shows you'd like to see me explain by sending them my way on any of my social media accounts at FoundFlix. Toby! What do you guys think of the Paranormal Activity series and its big original climax? What would you hope to see in the upcoming Part 7?
Let
me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Thanks for watching FoundFlix. See you next time.
Not gonna try to get any sniper kills. Fuck that.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? And welcome to FoundFlix. On this explained vid, we're looking at the recent hit Netflix series Archive 81. Following an archivist who takes a job restoring damaged video tapes,
I haven't done Breakthrough in a hot minute.
Into a mystery involving a young woman's disappearance and a strange cult that may be trying to destroy the world. I ended up really enjoying this series. It does a good job of balancing character along with the developing mystery, but really it was how the story unfolded that really drew me in. Each episode adds more and more layers to the increasingly complicated story and takes us into many unexpected directions. It's honestly a pretty huge change from where things start to where they end up. It was kind of crazy to think about when the finale ended. There is a ton of plot and various mysteries to look into that pop up over the course of the season, and you know that's what I'm all about. We're going to leave no stone or mystery unturned, really digging into every aspect of the show, which is also why this video is like an hour long. There's just a lot to cover. While it is a fairly complex story, it actually feels simple in the end and wraps up a lot of the bigger mysteries. That is except when it comes to the ending itself, that I really feel like blows open the whole show's world into an exciting new direction. It leaves us with a ton of questions.
Such a large map, I would
expect a bunch of stuff to look at with just the ending itself. Well, there's no time to wait, so let's get to the tapes in Archive 81, breaking down the story and its many mysteries, just what the cult is all about and what they desire, as well as explaining the ending and theorizing where things could go in Season 2. It's a lot! Maybe grab a snack or something. Things begin, simply enough, with a static-filled message from a young woman, Melody, who turns to the camera asking for help, and the search for her becomes the backbone of our story as it develops. In the Big Apple, we meet Dan, who has a peculiar interest in strange old tapes, seemingly trying to find things forgotten or lost, which he brings back to life via restoration. The street vendor mentions that someone called Jill stopped by recently, and after the mention of the name, Dan looks shaken up, the guy asking if they're still on friendly terms. Doesn't sound like it, and Jill must be an ex of Dan's that had a big impact on him. He works at the Museum of Moving Images, and looks to be quite skilled at his craft. A new collection comes in from a woman called Evie Press, and the footage is in dire need of help. Its contents are a lost movie called called The Circle, starring an actor William Prest, whose dad, which features a strange cult ritual. Dan explaining it's a horror anthology, a pre-Twilight Zone kind of thing. It was Rudy that discovered a bartender buried at his estate.
All I wanted to do was set up my turret, Markel. Revive, res, res,
is only interested in res.
Useless ass teammates.
All about. This speaks to the power that film and video
Nobody
can have.
fucking
It
reses.
lives long past ourselves. His boss gives him a new mysterious project. The tape
yay, thank you.
He rebuilds the cassette and watches the footage. So Melody, the girl from the opening, is doing a dissertation on the Visser apartment building. He jokes with her friend Annabelle, saying that she's wanting to go find a new best friend. But now
that guy got blown fucked up.
Dan is already curious and does a Googler onto the apartments, learning about a fire back in 1994 that killed at least 11. And strangely, no bodies.
I can't see anything, Markel. They smoked me. Now my gun's overheated.
Supernatural, telling the story of the cursed wedding ring. Dan doesn't believe in any of that kind of shit. Just about to leave, Mark gets real with him, telling him to let him know if he needs help, to which Dan eventually agrees. So there is some kind of issues that Dan has gone through recently, which his friend is worried about bubbling back up to the surface.
That poor guy.
With his work on the Christmas tape, and he's invited to who sent him to work with the mysterious LNG company.
Oh god, I'm overheated.
Who has an offer for him. Dan first is confused just what this place does. He couldn't find any info on it whatsoever. And Virgil points out that it was the same for Dan. Both agree that they like their privacy. Virgil lays out the job opportunity. The tape that he restored was recovered from the fire at the Visser, and there are several other tapes that he wants to restore. It sounds enticing enough with a fee of $100K, although due to the tape's fragile state, the work must be done at a remote facility in the Catskills. Suspicions are only getting started. Dan appears about to turn him down, and Virgil claims that he knows more than he's letting on.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Oh god damn.
Family in a fire. And since then, he's been spending his life trying to bring things back to people. He's incensed that Virgil somehow knew about his private history, and we flash briefly to him as a kid walking his pooch and humming a creepy melody. His sister is there, plucking at the piano, and young Dan stares wide-eyed.
Oh god, they shot Lurk! Oh god damn it, they slit my throat, They slit my throat.
Dan awakes from a nightmare and is compelled to return
They booty blasted me, more kill.
Something catches his
They
eye.
booty blasted
It looks like amongst the pics on her mirror, one
They blasted my booty.
his childhood dog Cleo. But
you don't care. You don't care.
Who isn't so sure, considering he's just seeing things that he wants to.
No, he's
and
watching
this
his
is
hentai.
somehow all tied back to
His
Jill.
anime.
He's adamant this is not about her. And besides, he's the one that runs a podcast.
He's watching his hentai. He doesn't care anymore.
How is something like this?
No, I'm watching my hentai. God damn it! Kinda had it coming. I wanna kinda had it coming.
But Dan is confident this is a sign. Besides, if he is seeing what he wants to, maybe it's time for him to take a closer look. He rides through the forest with Virgil, who keeps bringing up
stop being in combat already. Let me spawn on you. God, you're so selfish. How dare you fight in the front lines for the team?
Used to that, Dan. The facility is a
No
bit
time
dated,
for
but
that.
quite stately.
Coward
The
you are.
technology is top of the line. Oddly, there's no internet, and the cell signal is spotty, but they do have a trusty old landline. Right, top of the line technology, but no internet. And you're in the middle of nowhere, not suspicious at all. Virgil takes him down to where the tapes are housed, along with the camera used to shoot them all. And the gate seems straightforward enough. On the way out, Virgil hands him an emergency signal wristband, making sure
that's a grenade.
not just medical, but
Yeah, I got blown up.
just in case he needs it, you know. He too seems aware of Dan's breakdown, despite how he
please. Oh, that's another grenade.
Virgil is confident. That's all.
Thank you, buddy.
He has a clean bill of health, but regardless, they're available if he needs it. It's almost like he's expecting him or hoping that he's going to lose his shit again for some reason. He gets right to work on the first tape, but is distracted by another door guarded by a lock. He tries to get in, but is refused access. Dan, scoffing in curiosity, kills the cat. The next tape shows Mel on day one of her project on the Visser. According to archives she found.
Oh god damn it!
It doesn't really stand out.
Thanks for the ammo. I actually need it.
Well, there is some strangeness to its history, having been built over a mansion that burned out in the 20s and features some strange symbols carved into the outside facade. The maintenance guy John.
Ah, what the fuck? He's on the boat.
Asks him about a
That cheeky little shit.
but John is cagey, refusing to answer for what he says are privacy reasons. Also strange, when she asks for advice about meeting new people, he only suggests for her to stay away from the 6th floor. She's awoken later to the sound of faint chanting, pinpointing the events.
Ooh, get fucked.
To the opening, and the silence is overtaken by loud static. Mel trying to get herself together. The next day, she knocks on doors in hopes of interviewing the tenants, but no one even bothers to answer. She's given a break, though, and seeing a kid Jess there, who does delivery for the tenants, and she's at least a little more open than the others, agreeing to help her get subjects in exchange for a little bit of cash. Her first interviewee is Tamara, a musician working on an opera.
Ah, he had a teammate right there. Goddamn it, I fucked it up.
Hearing a woman's voice vocalizing along
this
with
is war, motherfucker.
thinking that this is exactly what she heard last night in the events. But before she can answer, a phone call pulls Tamara away. As the song continues, it has a noticeable physical effect on her. She gets to her feet only to collapse, asking Jess if the music also makes her feel strange. Dan finds himself humming the strange tune and calls Mark to get him to look into Tamara and the song. He wanders around downstairs, trying all the other doors, and finds that every single one of them are locked.
Oh, I got burnt to death. What killed? They burnt me to death.
That must be important to Dan. Scouring through the bookshelves, he finds
I bet my character doesn't actually look Krispy Kreme right now. That'd be awesome.
Back in without much thought. He is flooded with more flashes of memories. His sister playing the same weird song from Tamara's, and he wakes up. Having caught a rat, he can't bring himself to get rid of it, and rather decides to befriend it, aiming at Ratty. Well, very clever. He fixes another tape featuring Jess's interview with Mel, revealing that she was born in the building, right out in the stairwell, leaving her wondering if it is perhaps bad luck to be born in this place. Mel doesn't think so, and is more curious about what led people to the building in the first place, just considering that perhaps something old in here.
Ah, really? Fucking bullshit.
Mel doesn't know who that is just yet. Jess suddenly looks out of sorts, backing up in her chair with a blank gaze. Her breath quickens, and she's lifted to her feet, appearing to be choked, and tumbles to the floor convulsing. The tape slows and gets distorted, the image changing to a white outline of a figure amongst the static. And the creature starts to try to step beyond the screen. It appears right in front of Dan, freaking out and fleeing from the room. He gets through to Mars, who was unable to track down anything on Tamara, but he's already got more for him to look into, namely the LNG company as well as Melody. Looking around the trees, he sees someone nearby with a red hood, but when turning back to Dan, he has another memory flash of his sister playing the song, saying she heard it on a tape, and their dad comes in growling to stop playing it, telling Dan
this is trench warfare, Markeel.
This fateful walk is what prevented him from burning to death like the rest of his family, which is, pretty tragic. You can see how much it still affects him now. Finding the tape has somehow gotten exposed, he reconstructs it and picks up right where he left off. Jess now looking more calmed down. According to the doctors, they always say that nothing is wrong. It's just in her imagination. But Mel knows what she saw. She says that her mom takes her to Father Russo for so-called spiritual guidance. He changes the subject to church. Mel used to go, but not anymore, and then asks if she believes that there's a world other than this one. Not that it's hell, a world like this one, but different. More than this one. She starts talking about an even stranger concept. If she's strong enough to hold a new world inside of her. Mel encouraging, sure, you can do anything you want to. So the whole world inside you. Sure. Jess smiles and takes her hand, telling her that she's happy she's here. The tape suddenly cuts to Mel crying that they took Jess, and she runs into John, reminding her the 6th floor is off limits, sending her back downstairs where she runs into Samuel, who she hasn't technically met yet. She then encounters 2 other guys in uniform, and we're back at the opening message, pleading for someone to find her and help. The guys grab her and shockingly Dan's dad enters, trying to calm her down. His mind blown, he keeps mumbling that he doesn't understand what's happening, and we pull out seeing the entire facility is covered in cameras from every angle, all overseen by Virgil, of course. Static crackles, and we see a commercial for a DNA testing company called Wellspring, all about how they can help you find your
God damn it, all the hell!
Find out as a connection.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Dan phones Mark with the news of seeing his dad back in 94 to this earth, who accuses Virgil of being a liar. He must have known his dad was on the tape. And
I was gonna res you, jackass. My final words.
It's cool and keep digging deeper.
Oh,
he knows that his aunt has all of his dad's old files and tasks Mark to find out if he happens to have any on Melody. On to the next tape, we're back with Mel and Jess, where they run into the aforementioned Father Russo. He immediately invites her to attend service, Mel giving a half-hearted in response. Getting to missing toys in the store, she finds the secret of Nick, meaning that she loved the book as a kid. And of course, Jess has never heard of it.
Multi-kill!
Vision camera, designed for kids back in the 90s with absolutely awful video quality, saying that she too, like Mel, is a filmmaker. She hides it along with some comics and other contraband to keep secret from her ever.
We're back outdoors and we are back outdoors. Kind of disappointing. Ow.
Up for some tea this afternoon. Another lady, Beatrice, a proclaimed psychic, also feels that the people here are strange, but well beyond what might be expected, mentioning there's some kind of sex club that.
I gotta pump myself full with steroids, Markel. You don't care. You're watching your hentai.
The same weird chance Mel heard.
Bye, Battlefield, Markel. You will enjoy it. It's super duper fun. Well, it's a lot better now than it was when it first came out. In all honesty.
Her past is filled with grief, thinking that she must have suffered.
Bye, Battlefield, Markel.
Something hidden has guided her here. Someone.
I need my engineer. I am your medic and your lover. God damn it.
On the fourth floor, who no one has seen in years.
Honesty, yeah, out of all honesty, it's a lot better now. If you have to spare money, I'll take get it. But if you don't have it, yeah, don't get it. Get a game you actually want to play. Oh, god damn it. Hey, fuck you, guy. Guy shot me, got blown the fuck up.
She's really that desperate to get inside. He invites her to Tamara's one-act show that she's doing, hoping to rally an audience that is not very good. Yeah, sounds great. Tamara's one-act opera. Woo, getting ready for the show.
I pissed off a goddamn grenade launcher shot. You know how hard those are? Fine.
Feeling that they made good progress in the past. He asks to call him back, but she is not interested in reconnecting, immediately stomping over and deleting the message. He calls Mark to inform him of what he learned, and the red-hooded stranger is back. He chases after him, but loses him at a barbed wire fence. He then attempts to reach Virgil, wanting to know if someone else is here with him at the facility, and the lady on the phone immediately assumes that he must be mentally distressed. He maintains his cool, saying that it's just a question, nothing more. Again, it's like people want him to lose his marbles. It's like every chance. You need a shrink? You good, bro? He talks over things with his pal Ratty, and he's shocked to find that secret of Nim tape on the shelf.
No! Damn it, Markel. You see, if you were here, you could have prevented that death.
Actually, his dad. He follows him downstairs, around several winding corridors. Walking by another, it appears that he's suddenly in a different location entirely. Somehow at the Visser himself. He sees someone down the hall at the door. He walks up after and knocks, and shockingly, it's Mel.
Ah, damn it.
Right as he does so, though, he wakes up back in the compound. The next tape is at Tamara's show, which of course Mel films the entire time. The stage is covered in people wearing white masks, dancing around.
Oh goddamn! I still need so many kills with my goddamn grenade launcher.
An eerie theme tune, which again affects Mel. The lights flash, intensely hearing her heartbeat quicken, and Sam whisks her away. We learn that he's a teacher at Columbia, and he asks about her camera. Mel telling him that it was a present from her mom, wanting to follow in her footsteps, especially after her somewhat recent passing. She brings up the big rumor about the sex club, and he can't help but laugh, correcting that she must be referring to the Visser Historical Society. He's not technically a member, he alleges, but does talk there on occasion. The last one about Dutch witchcraft
no viewers,
that
no
existed
nothing.
until the 20th century in Lower Manhattan. I wonder if that has any relevance
What
here.
a nerd.
Yeah. They walk back to the Visser, and Sam hands over that skeleton key for her after all, and she kind of randomly starts making out with him. Seems kind of sudden, but you know, whatever. He runs off to
I'll give you a pity
and
follow.
she takes a chance to open the mailbox, but alas, it's empty. Her romantic interlude is interrupted by Annabelle showing up, already asking all kinds of questions about the hot guy she saw from the window. Geez, she's kind of a lot, huh? Sam arrives, and rather than stick
but
around,
I'm gonna change my game
to do
to
this
Tachi.
another time.
No,
Annabelle
not. Yeah,
keeps
Tachi,
filming,
me,
chiding her
TTV.
friend for having so many secrets.
Unless we come up with something better sometime soon. If we don't,
a real mess.
that's what it's
and when
gonna be.
grabbing a broom, he notices a spot in a wall that says
God, I'm
so
dying.
he busts a hole in it, uncovering a tunnel that leads to another downstairs area. There's even more locked doors awaiting him down there, including one filled with binders.
Wow, now in 30 minutes
Wellspring,
already?
the same
What time is
DNA
it?
testing company.
Holy
in
shit,
the
it's
opening,
6.
meaning that LMG must be connected. He then strangely finds himself in an old chapel and spots.
Before getting off, I actually do want to get on Dead by Daylight. It's the new Resident Evil fucking
his dad was on the tapes, right?
God damn it! One more level and I can get this stupid goddamn car that I want.
Wellspring Records room. He calls their work here a gift, letting people know who they really are, but closed up shop when sinister agencies wanted access to the data. He pulls out a file on his dad and tells him that he understands if this is all.
No, this is a new one.
If he's afraid
this is
of
season
what
2.
he might find.
Yeah, new one. I
According to
finished the
reports,
first one.
authorities
Now
said
I'm doing
his
the
father
new
had
one,
a
which is
breakdown,
why I've been
and
playing
he
Battlefield
was
so much. I
responsible
want to
for
get
the
a
fire
good
at the
jump,
house.
you
Dan
know,
is
good
adamant that
start
it was
on
an
it.
accident. His father would never.
Honestly, I just want to
Well,
get this
you
shit
can't
to
know
like
for sure,
70
right?
something, just
Virgil
spend the rest of
informing
the
him
money
that
to
he was
level it up the rest of the
job,
way.
which Dan didn't know. He offers him
That's what I did last
quit,
time, and it cost me
but
like
Dan
30 something
refuses to
bucks.
give up
So
and gets right back to the
easiest,
tapes.
well, not the
There,
easiest
Mel hears
solution,
more
but
chanting
you
in
know,
the
because I
vents
still have
and
to fucking
decides to
play.
track down the source. It's coming from the community room, seeing that it's full of various people, including Sam and Cassandra, all doing the rhythmic breathing in unison. At the
Let's see
front
this
of the room
new
is a cabinet holding
season
a
of
white statue. They wrap up the chant and everyone hugs.
Let's
After
see
they
this new
leave,
season
she
of
investigates
Dead
the bomb,
by
seeing it's the same symbol from
Daylight.
outside the building and
Well, no, I don't
on
think
it.
it's a new
Attempting
season.
to get
I know
help,
it's definitely a new
Tara and
patch
Sam
now.
return, sending her hiding to the closet, where she has to sit
I gotta go
silently
to
while
work
they pork,
tomorrow,
making
Markel.
weird
Get an
animalistic
office job,
growling
Markel. Then
sounds.
you can work from
Shannon,
home
she
every now and
frantically
then
later
like
tells
me.
Annabelle about what she saw, and upon hearing it, thinks
Why
that
not?
they should just leave.
You know,
It's not
my
that
job
simple,
is
as
hiring.
Mel
We need a
isn't really here
secretary.
for her project, she reveals.
Someone to sit on
She's
the
looking
front
for
desk,
her birth mother, Julia Bennett.
smile
She
and
got
help
a letter
people.
from her, and the visser was on the return
Do it.
address. Even if she wants nothing to do with it,
I have to
not
deal with
knowing
people,
her mom
yeah.
has been eating out
You
her
have to deal with
whole
people
life,
now. You're in the
saying that
fucking,
she
you
needs
just
to
don't
know
have
who she
to.
is.
Yeah, you have to
Annabelle
deal with people
vows
now.
to stay with her no
What are you
matter
complaining
There's
about?
a knock at the door, seeing it's Dan, tying back to his
Fair
previous
enough.
dream. Some kind of weird dream connection thing going on here. When she opens the door, no one is there. Dan meets up with Mark in town, revealing an increasingly complicated puzzle to him. The song the cult has been chanting is the same that his sister played on the piano when they were kids. Everything is somehow connected. As for LMG, Mark has found that it has its hands in many different industries, real estate, defense, and even synthetic gemstone manufacturing. The iceberg is so huge that Wellspring didn't even show up, so it must be an offshoot of an offshoot.
So
of
they
an
added a
offshoot. He
Carlos
was
skin.
unable to
They added
find
a
any of his
Shiva
dad's
skin.
files,
Who's this for?
but did discover
For
a
Jill.
wealth of
So Jill, they
recordings
added
of
the
his
Shiva
sessions,
skin for
handing
Jill,
over
which
a
is actually
bag
pretty
all
awesome.
marked
I
with
think
Mel's
Shiva's
names. Well, that's a
underappreciated,
good
and a
lead.
hunk.
Dan
Who's
struggles to
hunk?
figure out how the relationship
Oh,
started.
Hunk's a
But Mark
killer.
doesn't
I
know
meant,
the surprise.
actually,
Apparently,
shit, I might have to buy
died in a
fucking
fire.
Hunk and get
She's
good with this
alive
killer.
and in Pittsburgh. Whoa!
God damn
Mind
it.
blow. Listening to the tapes, Mel fills his dad in on the specifics of her past.
Yeah, I might actually
Her
have
mom
to.
left her at St. Joseph, also leaving her a necklace with a ring attached. She spent the next 10 years there and was always in trouble. The Duns calling her damaged.
They only have one
When
outfit
writing,
for
something
Rebecca.
takes
I'm
over.
surprised they went
She
with the
starts
cowboy
scribbling
outfit and
circle
not her
patterns on
cheerleader
the
outfit.
page. She doesn't know what
Ada
they are,
Wong
but
has one
feels
new
something
outfit.
pulling her,
Well,
having
no,
to
one new,
describe it
just
to
one
keep her
outfit.
from falling
Yeah, she
inside
only
her.
has one
She had
outfit, and
these
that's her
visions
in her
frequently until
undercover.
she left
Yeah,
the
her
church,
trench
but
coat
recently
on.
they have returned.
Yeah.
Stephen is confident
Oh,
they
what's-
can
oh,
at least
Stars
pinpoint
Uniform
her
Jills.
issues,
Oh, yeah,
and
this
they're
is
visited
him.
by a
Stars
fluffy
Uniform
friend,
Jill.
Cleo. So they did meet, and the connection he first picked up
God
on
damn, they
wasn't
added
so
quite a
crazy
few
after
fucking
all, as he
skins,
wisely
actually.
doesn't
I
trust
want the
Virgil
Hunk
at this
one, just
point.
'cause I'm a
Dan
huge fucking
scours the
Hunk
house
fan.
for more cameras, and also found, despite him saying there's no internet, finds a mass of data cables. He was actually able to
I am a
tap
hunk,
into
first
it,
of all.
and now has access to all the cameras in the house, so he can figure out where exactly he has privacy. Staring at a map, he suddenly appears in the community room with Mel, noticing little particles floating in the air. They can definitely see
It's
each
gonna
other
cost me a
and
full
formally
$10 whole
introduce
dollars to
themselves.
get this
She
shit.
whispers that the building is pretty weird, right? And of course he agrees. She then
Yeah,
invites Mel for a casual
$10.79.
drink, like a Fanta or something,
And no
there's a
sales
knock at the
tax,
door
just
that brings
$10.
him back to the bathroom. Looks like there's some kind of in-between dream world
I
that
regret
Mel is reaching
nothing.
out to Dan through. There's a woman at the door saying her name is Bobby and that she works for Virgil. She excuses that she was supposed to put him in a different room as there's mold in this one. He's confused as there is no mold and dismisses her, saying he needs his privacy.
I got
Mel
Jill,
then
I got
returns to the
Leon, I
community
got
room with
Ada
Annabelle,
Wong, and
detailing what she saw the
Rebecca.
last night. Cassandra
We got
enters acting
Albert
weird as
Wesker,
always,
Nemesis.
sniffing Annabelle
What
and
skins do they
calling
have
her
for Albert
lovely.
Wesker?
On the subject of
Justice.
last night,
Well, yeah, his
she
Stars
fears that
uniform's
she
nice.
wasn't there, despite us clearly seeing otherwise. Something shady is
I
definitely
don't
going
have
on
this
in here.
freaking.
She visits
I don't have the
Jess, who
killer, so I'm
appears
gonna have to
troubled
buy the
and speaks
killer
about
and the
more
Hunk
vague yet
outfit.
ominous things,
So I'm
such
gonna have
as
to buy
not
the
wanting
killer
to wait
Legion
anymore.
and get
Mel
the Hunk
asks if she
outfit.
should call her mom, but Jess doesn't want that. She'll just send her to Russo again, who who always blames her for not trying hard enough at her faith. Mel sighs that she knows all about how churches try to help, but offers that she did find someone that really did help her. She tells Annabelle about her plan to reach out to Steven after all for Jess, and she's annoyed at Mel always bringing in strays. This sends Dan to the audio tapes where he finds their joint meeting. Jess isn't so sure how long she's been having these episodes. When trying to describe how her thing feels, she says it's like being pulled somewhere, and she comes right back and see them talk after. Him thinking that it could be
Friday I gotta look up some builds.
Without a full medical workup.
Mama's a big fan of my skip grenades. Yeah, but seriously, Friday I do have to look up some builds. Or Saturday morning, honestly.
Now attempts to apologize, but she tells me to stay out of her business and leaves in a huff. Well, that didn't go well. It also shows how much distance there is in Jess and her mom's relationship. I mean, she's never around. What is she supposed to do? You know, she can tell. Mark makes it to Melody's house, and she's willing to answer some questions, but honestly doesn't really remember anything.
Let's get on Destiny, do some gambit without him because fuck him.
The interview really doesn't go anywhere. As Mark pieces together later,
we're probably gonna do Gambit all morning and just try to get as much as that done, and then after that we'll probably jump into the raid. That, unless you want to just do. Well, let me look at the seasonal challenges. We should come up with a plan, honestly, and stop winging it. I know we do have some Gambit things to do from last week, which we're gonna get done today. We can either do Gambit. Yeah, we can either do Gambit all day Saturday and do the raid Sunday. Let's look at the seasonal challenges. Alright, this week, alright, we gotta do the story mission, which I'm not that worried about. Complete bounties on the star chart, or, alright, that's easy.
Which Mel calls a nice sentiment, but not exactly the experience she had.
Fallen, defeat Fallen in Vanguard playlist, that's easy. Complete Gambit matches, easy. Long range calibration. And on Europa, yeah, that's all shit I'm not too worried about. Alright, Arc of History. Defeat Gambits with arc damage. Oof, so okay, that's gonna be annoying, so we do have to do PvP.
She shoots back that it's a gift, not a
bonus damage. Yeah, Arc of History. We gotta defeat Guardians with arc damage, so unless you want to keep invading, we can just, let's see what's on the PvP right now.
TV when he's there, and thanks to her extra key, they are able to get inside. It's just in time to see Russo basically trying to perform an exorcism, pouring water down the girl's throat. He tries to argue that he's helping her, and Sam steps in to save the day.
I don't have Rift's Runner though, I'm gonna have to freaking get it out and freaking use something to it. I got the skin. I spent money and bought the actual game for it, because I do like it. I was like, fuck it. I don't have many things to make me happy, and these things make me happy, so.
But he defends that she doesn't know what's going on.
What else do we have to do for the seasonal challenges?
And she should leave while she still can. Dan was at least able to convince Bobby to unlock the
Anti-Cabal sweep, defeat Cabal combatants in Vanguard, easy. Earn points by banking modes, easy. Sidearm, submachine gun kills, shotgun, glaze, and sword in the Cosmodrome, easy. Complete Lost Sector Legend or higher, and in Cosmodrome. Alright, this is all easy stuff. Usually the hardest stuff happens later. Yeah.
He insists that it's fine and hangs up, but it's clear that this has a big impact on him. Back in the store, Mel turns right to the lens and pulls up a Fanta, taking a drink. Cheers.
I don't have a chess piece. Mine is gone, I think.
She's been thinking about what he said, and then it really meant a lot to her. He asks in disbelief, is this really happening?
And I think they're pretty broken. Yeah, these are broken. Defeating targets with Thunderclap melee restores melee energy. Targets near you when you use your Thunderclap suffer lightning strikes being amplified, increasing the range of these lightning strikes. Yeah, I think these are pretty broken if you're using these and doing the run around melee.
Belonging to a woman, Eleanor,
no, I think the Thunderclap, I don't know, I'd have to look it up. Oh man, I knew they were doing gauntlets not that long ago, but I just completely forgot about it.
For supernatural messages from the spirit realm and beyond. In '74, her and her sister Cassandra moved to New York and set up a gallery to show off their group's work.
So that's probably going to be the end of my stream.
Featuring all kinds of spiritual
pieces, should I try to get the car real quick? Or should I just enjoy the rest of my goddamn day off before? Oh, do you have Monday off? I have Monday off. Labor Day.
Also amongst the collection is that
darn cabinet.
Okay, so actually that gives us another day of Destiny. So whatever, let's just do Destiny as much as Destiny as we can Saturday. Sunday we'll screw around doing whatever the hell we want, and Monday we'll finish up whatever we didn't finish up.
Neither know exactly how she got here, and Bobby calls
God damn, I really want this car. How much is it? 150.
Nighttime though.
150. What is it? Battlefield coins? Yeah, no.
Annoyed that he didn't upload anything today.
Oh, God damn it.
And Dan promises he'll get right back to it.
Bitch, don't tell me what to do. No,
and amongst her books finds one that is a catalog of comics. She's writing about one in particular, Karen, that used to be extremely popular with songs about it and everything. But over time, all comics break down and eventually disappear. Karen is supposed to be passing by again sometime soon. Good old Sam got her a telescope and they're gonna watch it together. The girls go over to Cassandra's for an interview, and she is surprisingly forthcoming about her and her sister's spiritual activities. When Eleanor passed, she wanted her to auction off the collection, but she decided to keep it instead. Mel goes right for the cabinet, and she excuses that she misplaced the key. She starts pressing her about the building and their cult, Cass divulging that they belong to the Spirit Receivers group that was mentioned in the opening, admitting some did refer to them as a cult. She's wearing the same pendant from the earlier painting of her, informing him it's made of Karenite, just like the pin, and of course referring to the comet. Mel stares into the surface, and a reflection becomes oddly distorted. She retrieves a special gift for Annabelle, a jar of paint mixed by Eleanor. Her excited about what she might conjure up. They run into Sam and thank him for getting Jess to a real doctor, and she broaches the subject of their weird cult thing, and he deflects that what she saw was just another run-through of Tamara's opera, but with new material. About to switch tapes, Dan catches Mel in the dark screen, but of course nobody is there when he turns back.
Feline started last week. We haven't talked to her in a hot minute. Why even bother joining the clan, Feline? I know you're not watching.
As a kid, he doesn't believe. She tells him, well, Daddy does, that they're all around us, asking, hasn't he seen some? She assures him there is nothing to be afraid of, though. They're just lost and don't know where to go. Dan wakes up to rustling in another room, coming to Melody sitting on the bed, flipping through that notebook that he found earlier. She has this fancy box, too, which is confusing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that tack helicopter, use it to taxi my ass.
From his dad, that he used to collect old films at flea markets, which might be Dan's own inspiration for his hunts. She sees that it's all busted up, and Dan tells her that he smashed it after he died, as he discovered that his dad wasn't who he thought he was.
I really shouldn't be using this helicopter to taxi my ass. That's the shittiest thing you can do. Well, one of the shittiest things you can do.
She's thrown it away countless times, but can't ever bear to let it go for good. But both still haven't been able to forgive them just yet.
God damn, look at all these fuckers using the zip line.
Knows his dad to her shock, especially as the Dan she knows is only a kid. How could that be? Hearing this, the lights go haywire and explode, plunging them into darkness. She's gone, but the belongings still remain. He flips to the last page, seeing it's marked T. Bellows, and discovers a pile of other journals in the closet, all with the same name inside. One has pages and pages of random numbers. Then he comes to the last one that's circled. He tries it out on the basement door, and huzzah! It works! He rifles through the drawers, finding something that his dad wrote regarding night terrors, as well as paranormal perception in adults. He figures that this must have been what got him in trouble with NYU, writing about parapsychology, and even he didn't know how much he believed in this kind of stuff. Well, we'll find out why. There's also some belongings from the Visser, including the teeth bowl we saw,
actually damaged the vehicle somehow.
Pictures, and finally, Mel's own burnt journal. He explains to Mark how he found the code, which must have been from someone that worked there before, but don't know what a guy was doing up here watching old soap opera tapes. Virgil surprises Mark at his studio and already knows him as Dan's BFF, showing that he knows more than he's
I still got him. He didn't launch a flare fast enough,
that Mark has been in contact the whole time with his bud, and even knows that Mark footed the bill for his stay at a facility after Dan's breakdown. Mark clarifies Jill didn't cause the breakdown itself, but that it triggered old family shit.
Oh, god damn it, the hound, the hind actually got me. Son of a bitch.
To get him some help. I mean, just being a good friend. Virgil insists that
he is
concerned and wants to help him out. He doesn't want to be his spy, but Virgil believes that they're on the same side. He inquires what's so important about the tapes, but he only tells him that it's confidential.
See if I can get some kills with this fucking sniper rifle. I doubt it.
Annabelle is already hard at work utilizing
but I can always hope.
Feeling that it's like a portal into her soul. She elects to stay behind for now, leaving Mel on her own at Cassandra's dinner party. Jess answers the door, now her wearing the Karenite necklace. She immediately goes for the cabinet, but is distracted by another lady, Patricia, who is happy to be interviewed. She's been here the longest so far, it seems, since way back in 1962. She used to work in Paris, but is now...
Oh god! No scope! Well, I gotta kill.
She strangely says that she feels they have a message for her, but refuses to elaborate further. She
Come on, guys.
Lady Helen, who designs masks, including those used for Tamara's performance. When the conversation turns to the cult, she starts acting shifty and excuses herself to go mingle. Man, these people don't even hide it very well, do they? Sam arrives with a special guest in tow, Evie Crest, who we remember in present day hired Dan with the footage from her dad, the guy who made the Circle movie.
God damn, I thought I switched characters. Why the fuck is it still using this guy?
Cassandra heard rumors that it was inspired by a real snuff film, which Evie tells her is true. Her dad went to a bachelor party at an old occult lodge in the Hollywood Hills, as LA used to be a major hub for the occult. After dinner, they brought the guests underground to watch a film. Her mom was certain that it was a hoax featuring some kind of gruesome sacrifice. True or not, this was the real inspiration behind Williams' film. Cassandra seems particularly interested in getting a copy for herself, but Evie doesn't have any as far as she knows. She does still have unresolved feelings regarding Williams' death, and they mention that they could try and contact him with Beatrice's assistance. Evie is down, and the group goes to mingle in another room, as Mel returns immediately to the cabinet. She's caught in the act by Sam, who offers up the skeleton key. She opens it, and the sculpture inside has definitely changed, Cass calling it a self-portrait. I mean, everyone is in on this thing, right? It's pretty obvious at this point. Beatrice does her thing, calling forth to the spirits to move through her, and reaches out to William. It appears to work, recalling an Emily Dickinson book that he gifted her as a child, and Cassandra returns to her own...
Really? From across the fucking map? How? That is bullshit.
Which shocks Evie, and Beatrice's voice turns demonic, bellowing to stay away from, and she loses the connection. And they then turn to Melody. Is there someone that she wants to contact? She says no, as she still believes her mother isn't dead, but they don't know for sure that she's still alive either. This time, calling out for Julia. Everyone waits for a sign, but Beatrice doesn't feel any kind of presence from the realm of the dead. She then groans that there's someone else here. Dan spins back to Mel, there with him, explaining that he's restoring her own tapes. She stares intently at Beatrice's face, thinking that she recognizes her but can't remember anything specifically. He asks if she remembers his name. Dan, she smiles, saying that he lives in the building with her. He corrects that he's never actually been there. Wait, didn't they meet in the community room? Well, not technically. They were in that in-between.
Oh, that is such fucking retarded bullshit. It should not go that far. It's a they got flanked. Yeah, fuck you guys. They got flanked hard. Oh, you gotta love it.
Told him about Ghost being lost, and now believes that correlates with Mel. He lays it out to her blankly that she died in the fire 24 years ago, and she doesn't believe him, calling him crazy. He tells her the whole purpose of his work is to find out what happened to her, as well as what caused the fire. Mel loses it on him, adamant that she's not dead. Her getting upset again causes the lights to click off, and she's gone, the tape starting itself back up. Beatrice's eyes glaze over to white, and she starts to recite word for word everything Dan and Mel have talked about up to this point. They're both baffled across time, especially when she includes the concode that they literally just had a few moments ago. Dan finally starts understanding this can't be a dream. It's all real, and some crazy time-hopping supernatural shenanigans afoot. He tells Mark the good news, as this means that there is still a chance for him to save her. He rants to him about his plan, which to Mark is sounding pretty nuts by now. Beatrice keeps rambling, repeating to go. She suddenly screams and begins to tear at her own face, everyone screaming to stop, demanding to call an ambulance. Mel tries to ask her how she knew about all that stuff with Dan, but she's in no state for answering questions, getting carted off to the hospital. Yeah, she doesn't have a face at the moment. She comes home to more complications. Annabelle has been on a painting rampage, the whole place covered in dark random patterns and circles. She claims that there is someone in there within the walls that is communicating with her. Okay, static garbles in, and the creature appears, momentarily interrupting.
Oh, son of a bitch!
At the hospital,
I am not gonna get these sniper rifle kills.
And finds herself back in the in-between in-between particle zone. Dan appears, causing her to spill her drink, and this time she wakes up just as he does after each of their encounters. They are definitely communicating in an in-between space between their two times, occurring independently or at the same time, you know, like all time at once, that kind of whole thing. She tries again to rouse Beatrice for some questions, but she cannot that the other person that she's feeling isn't dead. Well, obviously Dan. She grabs her hand and growls in a demonic voice, "Don't let it out." Yeah, whatever it is, let's not. Good idea. She seeks out Steven's help, but finds that he's already been placed on leave. So she goes to his house and explains about the dream conversations, yet she couldn't remember any specifics. That is, until the seance. Suddenly she remembered everything about him all at once, and explains that it was actually his
God damn it, why is no one on my fucking thing shooting that bitch?
She thought Mel was the one
you
who
gotta
filed
love
the complaint
randoms.
against him as payback for something that he did 6 months ago. A researcher put out a call looking for people with certain sensitivities, calling them ball dung. Mel's profile seemed to fit exactly what they were seeking, including a genetic predisposition for psychic perception. Well, there you go. That at least explains some of what's been going on here. Being able to reach out to Dan through time and all that stuff. He's got psychic powers. She asked if it could be real, and he doesn't rule out that it isn't, but it is still almost likely in head. She knows that it's all real and can prove it thanks to her tapes.
Too bad assist don't fucking count.
Back at the building, she runs into
dick.
Something odd, but will not tell her who it's for. Mel suspects it's for Samuel, saying she's going to the top floor. You know, he lives there. At the apartment,
got me with
there's
a
no sign
grenade
of
launcher.
Annabelle.
That's
He goes
bullshit.
to ask Jess about it, but Mom doesn't even want her around anymore. She goes back and rewatches the seance footage, and the tape gets distorted, hearing strange voices. A demonic snarl rings out, and it appears to her briefly. She packs up the tape and ships it to Steve, and it is definitely not all in her mind. That is for sure by now. Jess does come by and tells her she knows where Annabelle is at Cassandra's. Understandably worried, Cassandra turns the blame on her, always smothering her friend. Here, she can have the freedom to find herself. In need of more space to work, she also set her up with an apartment
Pink
on
friendly
the 6th
down, yeah, no
floor.
shit, Sherlock.
That one place Smith wanted her to avoid at all costs. Jeez, wonder what's going on.
We're gonna win this, but
Time to
sure it's
find
not gonna.
out.
Sure as fuck not gonna be because of my
Completely
awesome skill.
consumed in her work, and she seems kind of changed in a way. Meaning that the building
Oh
is
my
special.
God! Fuck my life! I just spawned.
There's
Alright.
something here. Mel, on the other hand, thinks
okay,
that it
so
is
I'm
time
gonna try to
leave.
take out that
Finding
fucking
Julia or
helicopter.
not, this place has become way too unsafe. Annabelle's too far gone, gushing to her that Cassandra got her a spot in a local art show and pushes her out of the door so she can get back to painting. She hears that distinct chanting coming from behind another door, which we see oddly locks on the outside, trying to keep something in, you know what I mean? The place is a rundown hovel. They're also noticing a strange black shimmering substance growing on the walls. She is startled by a group of people all hunched over, appearing strung out, and another group is in a circle chanting together in the kitchen. They all stop and stare at her menacingly, and another group pops up asking if the Russos sent
Oh
her.
my God, yeah.
Reminding her of what he said, scooping the man away. Mel tries to get more info from him, but he's characteristically tight-lipped. He does at least explain what's up with the hovel people.
God damn it,
They're all
and
addicts,
one,
and a
just
kind
give me
of
the
penance
fucking
for
anti-air
losing
tank,
his sister
please.
to drugs. Sam leases out the floor to keep them warm and safe. See, he's doing a good thing. Definitely not a bad guy at all. No way. Back in her room, that same junkie guy, Chris, appears on the fire escape, and when she mentions Julia, he tells her that he can help, as long as she helps him too. He sits down to be taped, and he can't exactly remember how long he's been here. He calls the drugs they take stardust. That's what brought them here, and what keeps them here as well. It's actually made from that shimmering mold that you saw upstairs, saying that it runs through the building like dark veins. You take one hit, and it's like a whole other world opens up. When she tries to ask what he knows about Julia, he is not much help whatsoever. And even if she had been here, he wouldn't have solved the drugs. Thanks for the help, Swiss Cheese Brain. He is distracted by a sound coming from the wall and hums along with our favorite song. It starts affecting her, and she tries to get back to the point, but he will not tell her more unless she can get him a bed down at the church. She does want to get clean, he claims, and get out of here once and for all. He worries that if he doesn't get out of here soon, the ferryman's gonna come drag him and everyone else here to hell. Ferryman, Karen, Karenite, more on that later. No time like the present, and Mel heads down to the church, where she's shocked to see a vigil for Russo a lady telling him that he fell in front of a train late last night. Well, that doesn't sound suspicious. She bursts into his office to poke around, and when finding his keys, it's right to that secret log cabinet. We discover that Russo was a lot more aware of all the strangeness at the Visser and its history. There's a blueprint of the building along with a timeline. The Voss Mansion, completed in 1920, then the Voss Society in 1924, along with the comet Karen, and gas explosion, also in 1924. Then, as Mel mentioned when first coming to the Visser, the apartment was actually built right on top of the Voss Mansion. Sounds like weird religious cult stuff has been going on these grounds for a long time. She also finds a book there on occult and demonology.
AR-15, this gun. I love
the exact statue from the cabinet listed. It represents Caligula,
wow, don't know how I got that
god and demon, according to the legend. And it's definitely the white guy that pops up in the screens and everything. Yep. In another book's pages, she stumbles across another surprise. There are various pages showing different identities for Samuel, telling us he's been lying about himself from the very beginning. Digging deeper into the witchcraft book, there's another familiar term, the Baldung cult, as Stephen mentioned. She sees the symbol and realizes it's the exact same one from her mother's necklace, meaning she must have been somehow involved in this Baldung cult. The massive revelation all piling up quickly. She has to run and hide when Sam comes in, probably looking for what she just took. At least he does rip off the last note about the train meeting from Russo's calendar, implying he's covering his own tracks. It's a train joke. She rushes to a payphone to tell Stephen everything about her mom and the Baldung. When handing up, Dan appears there briefly in reflection. Her pager starts buzzing, and it's Annabelle. Now totally
they got me, Markel. They sniped me. They sniped me in the butt.
Down the free wine to calm her nerves. Annabelle gives her grief for being late, but she's got her mind still on the Visser, telling her that we are leaving tonight.
Oh, cool. I can texting my ass over there again. God damn it, I forgot to bring the goddamn spawn beacon.
Check out her mini pieces.
Whatever.
They're all dark portraits of what seems to be the same woman. Annabelle doesn't even know who the woman is, but again knows that she's in there and she is the one communicating with her. Mel is still not getting it. Annabelle scoffing, you know, the other plays, the paint, but you see it. She boasts that she's a real live spirit receiver herself now. Mel goes to touch the paint and now knows that it is too made from the Visser's special mold mix. Across the way, Annabelle gets into an argument, yelling to the dealer that her paintings aren't for sale. You'd think she'd be happy they sold, but not so much. She starts ripping them off the walls and grows aggravated, even shoving Mel to the ground. Groaning, Cassandra is right. She's always smothering her. Ooh-wee, seems like something in that mold stuff kind of changed her quite a bit. He runs into Sam and
oh, goddammit.
All of his mysteries, the junkies, the fake names, along with the possibility that he killed Russo because he figured him out. He plays it all off completely, accusing her that she must be on drugs or something. Out of nowhere, Chris's body plummets to the earth. Passersby start gathering around, and next to Sam, there's another surprising visitor, Virgil, stepping out to join the onlookers. Dan is perplexed once more and addresses Virgil directly through the camera, calling him a liar, and screams to know who he really is. Virgil does show up later and divulges at least another layer to his ever-deepening plan. If we're going to tell you the truth completely, Dan, Sam was his brother, lamenting that he had potential but channeled it into all the wrong places. It's Virgil's belief that Melody actually killed Sam and that the proof is somewhere in the footage. As for the whole supposed cult thing, he dismisses it all as harmless. Some knickknacks and a bunch of gullible people. And it was Mel that got in her head about Julia living there, and when she couldn't find her, says that she turned her
oh, god damn it!
Even that she's the one that set the fire that killed him and the others. Dan refuses to believe she'd ever do that. Again, truly feeling that he knows her after watching so many hours of footage. But Virgil maintains his own feelings, even entertaining the notion that Mel also set the fire.
God damn it!
I mean, I could be, I guess.
Literally just fucking spawned!
Doesn't know for sure. The only way, as Virgil tells him, is to
that's
finish
retarded.
The tapes. Maybe that way they can both get closure. Our next vintage video is the opening scene of William Crest's Lost Circle movie. It does feel right out of the Twilight Zone, concerning the idea of a world.
Put it down, my character humans.
If that world exists, it's believed at the center of it is the circle. The title fading on screen. So we know his film was based on a real film, and so this definitely is the situation we've got brewing on our hands here. Trying to reach another dimension. Dan finally confronts the past via repairing the tape that his dad left him. As Stephen wishing him a happy birthday before launching into a showcase of classic flicks. so he can watch all the hits on his own. He gets a call from Mark, who has made his way to the facility, worried as he hasn't heard from him recently. Dan lets him in, can't let him in, and about to walk off, Mark tells him that he found Thomas Bellows.
You know what? This guy's a shitty sniper. I'm gonna switch to the guy with the grappling hook. I guess he can get on.
Opera tapes. Obviously, Patricia's aforementioned substantial collection. Apparently, he suffered from paranoid delusions ever since, and sometime later wound up in a fatal car wreck. Now Mark is worrying the same thing is happening to him. He insists, as always, that he's fine, and proceeds to take out every camera in the house. Virgil watching.
Damn it! Yes, I'll have him coming.
But this guy, he's got secret cameras too, right?
Fucking bitch has killed me 3 times, but here I am using shit I'm not good with.
Then panning up to Mel asleep in bed, meaning someone else is filming her. She wakes up looking confused by her surroundings, and after seeing the fresh tape plays back the alarming footage. She finds a package, now knowing that she's at Sam's place, and I bet he was the one taping her too. You know you're actually a weirdo, dude, just admit it. The cops want to ask her some questions about Chris's death, and she takes the opportunity to blame Sam for everything, but the proof that she has is somehow no longer in her bag. That crafty bastard must have stolen it. She keeps rambling, and sounds not exactly credible, again being asked if she's the one on drugs. He gets a call, learning that Annabelle has been taken to a mental health facility. Apparently, during her freakout, she broke the gallery owner's jaw and stabbed a security officer in the eye with a nail. He explained in a day, she says that she has a message.
Wow, don't even know I got that one.
Who exactly it is. The doc knows she was hallucinating, but according to the toxicology reports, it's not because of drugs. This leaves Mel wondering if somehow the mold could be behind it, and he says it is possible. A neurotoxin could cause similar episodes.
I got quite a few kills with the sniper right now. Not even looking down scope. I do not know how I got those kills. Not even joking.
Goddamn. Purchased the paintings, proudly saying that her friend has
I missed a good number of shots.
And opened a door. Jess steps in looking worried at the tense scene, and Mel tries to get her to leave with her. She doesn't budge, saying that according to Samuel, she should.
Oh God! Campy little shite!
Feebly tries to convince her Cass and Sam aren't actually good people. She gets closer, scaring Jess and causing her to drop her tea. Mel then realizes Cass must have been dosing Jess the mold in the tea. She knows at least that jar she saw earlier must have been the mold, and even after the weirdness, Jess still agrees to help her get a sample. She descends down into the basement and sees that the mold has covered the entire walls down here, and inlaid are an abundance of circle patterns. Again, as Crest said, the circle must be the origin of the door. She removes one from the wall, hearing that same wheezy chanting kick in. There's another door there, sounding like where the noises are emanating from. She spins back to Samuel, when the tape gets eaten, pulls it out, and somehow the mold has completely infected it. The same goes for the tape deck now, covered in the black shimmering mass. He calls Virgil and is sounding even crazier than ever, him turning this into a potential mental emergency. Dan is resolute that he's fine, and Virgil then calmly reminds him that he requested a backup deck. He finds it along with an old digital camera, learning that it belonged to Terry. He too kept a video log for his girlfriend, detailing his time at the facility. He also doesn't understand the importance of digitizing these shitty old soap operas, but does it.
God damn it, I shot him in the dick!
It was his along with his girlfriend's initials carved in.
Why? Why did they keep shooting me in the dick?
Like Dan found the chapel. He also soon starts going nuts and complains the job is sucking the life out of him, but stays strong thanks to the promise of all that cash at the end. As we also know, he found the code to the Wellspring room, and after diving into the info there, determines that it's actually all just a front for collecting personal data, and believes that Virgil was actually looking for someone specifically. Even more alarmingly, he finds a massive fridge full of blood containers.
God damn it, I missed a fucking headshot.
All that's for. He breaks down further later, sobbing about a face that he saw on the screen, thinking that it was watching him. He groans, "Fuck you, Patricia and your tapes. What did you do?" Sounds like just like with Mal's tapes, Patricia's were kind of cursed in a way, as they also originated in the Visser. Dan brings up her old interview that confirms this notion, her saying again that she felt there was a message for her in them. Sick of all
There was a time where my skills with a sniper rifle were unmatched in this fucking game. Unfortunately, that time has passed.
Now knowing for sure that these are all Patricia's tapes. He catches Mark up on Thomas's unraveling, as well as the connection.
Got shot in the back! That same fucker.
appeals out of nowhere, he brings up Thomas, and she warns him not to make the same mistake.
Oh, looks like
he
they
did.
took out my
Finish
spawn
the job
beacon somehow.
and walk away. At an
I forgot to put it down.
bookstore, Mark is there waiting for none other than Jill.
How many kills did I get with a sniper rifle out of curiosity?
Crest suffered a stroke.
I know not enough. Yeah, 7 out of fucking
Williams'
20.
sought-after collection. He somehow knows that she got them, and implies the only reason she knows about any of this is due to Dan's obsession with the Circle movie. She calls Crest a real nutter into all kinds of strange things, but this stuff is different. The papers are all about
goddamn, that was so bad.
New York. Any guesses as to the name? Yep, the Boss Society. Although they didn't seem to make much of a long-term impact. She shows off a picture of the Boss family, led by Iris, who came over from Europe after World War I. And it was their house that burned down, on top of which the Visser was built. Then there's his other inspiration, the supposed snuff film. And she doesn't have the original, but does at least have a copy they can get a look at. We can make out a group in a room, and someone pours blood onto the Caligo statue. It seems that word of it being cursed is well known, as 3 other archive places turned down the collection. Mark smirks, well, it's your lucky day, as he's gonna take it all off her hands. Dan motivates himself to just finish this thing, and picks up right at the breaking point. As we're showing up in his apartment, Sam says if she found it, and without a key to her place,
that's the end of the
simply
stream.
carry her to
I'm
his.
tired.
Elaine apologizes if this scared her, but didn't want to leave her out on the street. She asked him about the
no,
hole
actually
that
no,
were
just
down
2
here,
hours.
and he unbelievably
Join me again tomorrow.
flamed
I
up,
stream more
guessing it must be
Battlefield.
water damage or
For
something.
anybody
They'll
that
know
stopped
better.
by,
Calling
thanks for
his
stopping
bluff.
by.
He's
For anyone that
scraping
actually
the
clicked
stuff
on my
off the walls and using
stream,
it to
boy,
poison
no, that's
people.
that's
And
a
that's again what it is.
You know what?
He finally
Just
lets the nice
stop by
guy
again.
facade
Deuces.
drop